Chapter 858. Great Monarch of the East Mountain. Wukong exhaled a long breath. The quantum spiritual light indefinite cloud of two realms, which had escaped into the void, was not on this shore, not on the other shore, and not in the middle, rotated rapidly, faintly projecting 70% of his primordial spirit's computing power over. The aura of magic power on his body became increasingly ethereal and unpredictable. He took a deep breath of vitality, and the strong wind he exhaled surged from all directions, sucking up all the air around Mount Tai in one breath. The clouds in the sky and the ghostly chi of the netherworld all entered the mouth and nose of the Monkey King, only allowing him to see the wide heavenly river under the heavenly palace. The sun was still hanging high in the sky, but countless stars could be seen twinkling in the heavenly river. The East Mountain Sovereign was happy to see the endless Yuan Qi pouring into Wukong's incarnation. At their realm, the Yuan Qi of the mortal world was heterogeneous and thin. It was as filthy as feces and urine. Unless it was during the creation of heaven and earth, the natural pure and turbid Qi was not beneficial to the divine body. Carelessly sucking out Yuan Qi like this was like smelting iron or of the lowest quality. It was impossible to refine an invulnerable divine body. But how could he have expected that Chun-Ong had personally taught him the theory of one origin of space-time and matter, breaking through the origin of matter and turning matter back to its origin? Regardless of the so-called innate or acquired, the profound realm of matter and space-time, after Wukong cultivated the quantum spiritual light indefinite two-world probability cloud, he was already able to go deep into the bottom of matter to pluck the one-dimensional string. Wukong's primordial spirit went deep into the bottom essence of matter that made up this clone and gently plucked the string of space-time. A loud boom was heard. The sound of a great bell rang out incessantly. It was as if a gate had suddenly opened in the Monkey King's body. Vitality mixed together and collapsed into a string. Then, on a macroscopic level, the dimension was raised to quarks, neutrons, atoms, molecules. East Mountain. If you know what's good for you, then give up the seat under your ass. Respect my master as the Five Directions' immortal elder, the great emperor of the heavenly court. He is a virtuous and powerful man. He can make decisions for the heavenly court with just a lift of his finger. He's not someone a good-for-nothing who has survived countless tribulations like you can compare to. Otherwise, I, old son, will hack you with my stick. Great Monarch Dong Yu was so angry that he laughed out loud. What a demon monkey. I was wondering how a mere stone monkey like you could compare to an earthly god general like me, causing havoc in the hairy ghost country. So it turns out that you have someone backing you. That immeasurable heavenly lord is so impudent. He actually allowed a monkey to wreak havoc and raise a demon for himself. Even if he is the beyond heaven sect master and a saint who has descended into the world, I still have to report him and ask the Jade Emperor why he allowed him to wreak havoc. On Mount Zhongnan, when Wukong said those words, the chess piece in Chun-Ang's hand that was about to be put down paused and almost fell. On the opposite side, Laozi looked at Chun-Ong with a smile that was not a smile. Chun-Ong looked ashamed and angry. He thought, that scoundrel's mouth doesn't have a gate. He dares to talk nonsense. When he comes back, I will definitely send him to the deepest part of the netherworld, so that he will understand the truth of the endless hell that is neither empty nor real. But his mouth said, I forgot to play chess with you, Grand Supreme Elder. Where did Wukong and Greenox go? Let's not care about it. Laozi, let's finish this game first. Laozi stroked his beard and laughed. I'm just afraid that your disciple will be mischievous and run to the human world to wreak havoc. If the heavenly lord finds out, I won't be able to answer to him. Although the Monkey King is a monkey, he has been taught by Confucius and learned from the three religions. He knows what is good and what is bad. He understands morality and ethics. Why would he wreak havoc? There's no harm. There's no harm. Chun-Ong smiled and waved his hand. I, old son, have transcended the three realms and am not within the five elements. I am following my master in cultivation. What can restrain me? Since you have a name in the book of life and death, You won't be able to escape from my laws. Demon monkey, if you obediently confess to your crimes, you might still have a chance to live. Otherwise, the laws of the heavenly court and the rules of the hairy ghost country will punish you. No one can save you from this." The great emperor of the East Mountain was enraged. The Monkey King raised his iron rod and asked, "Then let me ask you, did the book of life and death say that you will die if you offend me today?" "The only thing it says is that you will die today." East Peak opened the book of life and death. Under the Monkey King's name, it was written that he would die violently today. The great emperor of the East Mountain would add a line on the spot: "Soul scattered, never to reincarnate." The Monkey King laughed. "After I kill you, I'll write a name for you in the book of life and death. Just tell me how you want to die. I'll satisfy you today. What kind of death do you want? This emperor will be merciful and write one for you on the spot." East Peak mocked. "Die." The Monkey King's body moved, accompanied by a torrential force. It was as though Mount Tai had moved into the Eastern Sea. The gravitational force in the surroundings was like a tidal wave. Many of the nearby divine generals were shattered by the force, and the entire mountain trembled continuously. It would have collapsed long ago if it wasn't for the suppression from the great emperor of the East Mountain's divine power. This swing of his rod contained the power of the sun, moon, and 100,000 stars. It struck toward East Peak like a supernova explosion, capable of destroying the world. The great emperor of the East Mountain furrowed his brows in anger as he took a step forward and slapped out. In that palm, when heaven and earth cycled back and forth, the innate Tai Su was enveloped with countless Tai Su substances. Tai Su substances were the most primitive state of matter, also known as Tai Su vital Qi. At the beginning, there was Tai Chu, and then there was Tai Shi. Once the form was formed, it was named Tai Su. Tai Su was the beginning of matter. It had form and substance, but it had yet to take form. This primeval energy could melt all things in the world. The Elder Lords, Yin Yang Bottle and Violet Gold Gourd, could also turn people into pus and blood, but they were far inferior compared to primeval energy. This palm strike opened up the primordial chaos and nurtured the Taiji. All matter and energy would be eliminated and turned into primeval energy. It could fuse with the sun, the moon, and the stars. When the palm and rod collided, there was a loud boom. The ground rolled like a huge wave, and the primordial stratum on which Mount Tai stood was almost shattered. Dong Yu and Wukong's expressions changed. "Not good." Wukong hurriedly deployed a gravitational pull, allowing the surrounding space to absorb the tremendous force of the battle like a sponge. Meanwhile, East Peak summoned the divine form of Mount Tai to suppress the surroundings. Only with the two of them working together did they manage to avert this great calamity. East Peak's eyes flickered. "Why does it look like that monkey is even more anxious than me? If I cause an earthquake in Qilu and cause countless deaths, not only will my divinity be damaged, but I'll also lose the favor of the heavens. The Jade Emperor will surely use this matter to suppress me. This is too important." I thought the demonic monkey would be happy to see this happen, so I summoned the earthly gods and asked them to suppress it. That demonic monkey isn't afraid of group battles, so that's all they can do. But why does it look like this demonic monkey is even more afraid of earthquakes than me? East Peak pondered for a moment before probing. "A demonic monkey like you actually fears calamity. It looks like you know about the heavenly punishment and fear the might of the heavens. Why don't you surrender now? Otherwise, you won't have a complete corpse under the might of the heavens." "Not good." The Monkey King thought. "He wants to use the people of Qilu and Mount Tai to threaten me. I mustn't fall into his trap." He leaned on his staff and said with a smile, "What calamity? What does that have to do with me? I've swallowed the 80,000 mountains and devoured all the living beings in them. My mouth is so slippery, but I still don't think it's enough. I'm planning to use all the immortals on Mount Tai as a feast after killing you and invite the demon kings of the 4 seas and 8 desolations. I'm going to give you a title to celebrate my killing of you." "What's your title again?" The Monkey King dug his ears. "I think it's Emperor equal to heaven. Then I'll be Emperor equal to heaven." I'll ask that old Jade Emperor to bestow this title on me. When the time comes, I'll eat all the immortals on your mountain. Look at how restrained you are. Don't tell me you're also taking care of the common people? The Monkey King bared his fangs and made a fierce expression. East Peak said indifferently, "They're like sheep, shepherding the masses. Sacrificing themselves for me is their fortune." The two of them probed each other and said, "What a ruthless character." The East Peak was shocked. This demonic monkey is so arrogant. The Monkey King thought, this East Peak is so heartless. He doesn't even care about his own people. How ruthless. The Monkey King's eyes shifted about. I need to transfer him away from this place, lest he slaughter the living beings here. That would be a great sin for me. I can't go to Master's place either. He said with a smile, "Since that's the case, the common people on Mount Tai are still useful to us. Why don't we go to a more spacious place to fight?" The East Peak nodded. "That's what I was thinking. The Heavenly Court's Milky Way contains the stars and is boundless. Only the Canopy Marshal and the Heavenly Court's Navy are stationed there. If you're not afraid, why don't you come and fight with me? Canopy, that useless good-for-nothing, when did I ever think highly of him? Let's go." A cloud rose up beneath the Monkey King's feet. It was the quantum indefinite probability cloud of the two realms. With a single thought, his primordial spirit would calculate the spatial coordinates and be able to enter and exit at will. The 3 realms and 6 paths could be reached at will, regardless of distance or space. The Monkey King said, "My cloud is faster than you. I'll wait for you at the Milky Way first. Prefect Monarch, don't flee in fear. A mere lesser demon dares to make me fear." The East Peak Monarch looked disdainful. The Monkey King only laughed. "That's for the best. East Peak, let's meet at the Milky Way." With that, he vanished, leaving only echoes in the air. Chapter 859. Heavenly Realm, Heavenly River Navy's Base. The Milky Way flowed down from the 9 heavens and passed through the 33 heavenly realms. It became slightly calmer here. The Milky Way was boundless and contained the stars. It was once the river that separated the stars and Han. After Emperor Zue went into seclusion, great heavenly venerable Jade Emperor ordered the 4 saints of the North Pole, Marshal Tian Peng, to lead the navy. The water of the heavenly river was not ordinary water. It wasn't true water, it was the weak water of the heavenly realm. If goose feathers didn't float on it, even birds wouldn't be able to fly. Only this extremely light and spiritual water could flow above the 9 heavens and move the stars. Monkey King was able to float above the Milky Way, even though it was difficult for a celestial being to cross it. He came from the divine court of Mount Tai and arrived above the Milky Way in the blink of an eye. He looked around and realized that he was too early. The Lord of Mount Tai was nowhere to be seen. The Milky Way is so vast, and the weak water doesn't even float on it. Master once told me that he used to transform into a primordial Narcissus in another world. He was the overseas sect master and cultivated the Milky Way water art. There are 7 types of innate true water, and one of them is the weak water of the Milky Way. It's a pity I didn't learn it from Master. Monkey King rolled his eyes and thought, "Oh right, that old bull pulling the bronze carriage is a supreme treasure refined by my master when he was the overseas cult master. Its original form is the golden ship of fate, and its uses are boundless. That East Peak's magic power isn't weak, so I need to borrow it just in case." On this side, Wukong's hair clone moved. On the other side, Wukong pulled the green ox and said, "Brother, do you still have the bronze chariot frame that my master gave you to pull the chariot?" The bull was stunned. "It's behind the cowshed. That treasure is extremely powerful, but it only has the power to destroy the world. What's the use of it?" Wukong said, "That East Peak subordinates are indeed a bunch of good-for-nothings like I said. Only he can be considered an opponent. We fought once at the foot of Mount Tai and caused the world to shake. I was afraid there would be a great calamity that would bring disaster to all life. So I stopped and invited him to the Celestial River for a battle to avoid Master's blame. You know that I, old son, am not good with water, and I'm afraid that the Marshal of the Milky Way, Tian Peng, is in cahoots with the Lord of Mount Tai. If they summon the celestial river navy to suppress me, I will inevitably suffer a loss. Therefore, I need to trouble you to borrow Master's golden ship of fate. If they plot against me like this, I can use it to teach them a lesson." The green ox hesitated and said, "That's something under the saint after all. I'm strong and was given the heavy responsibility of pulling the carriage by the two saints. How can I steal the saints' Dharma treasures?" The Monkey King laughed. "How can it be considered stealing when a disciple takes his master's treasure? With me, old son, around, what's there to be afraid of? Besides, I'm just borrowing it. When the battle of the heavenly river is over, we'll return it secretly." On Mount Zhongnan, Laozi stroked his beard and smiled. Chen Eng's face darkened. The green ox was tempted by his words. He had not descended to the mortal world for a long time. Now that he was fooling around with the Monkey King, he was a little wild. He suddenly said in a low voice, "Other than the golden ship of your honored master, my master also has a treasure which is now sealed in the furnace." After he left the Hanga Pass, he refined a ball of wood steel in the 8 trigrams furnace. "My master used the 9 cycles golden pill to transform it into a huandan. I've secretly taken a look. It's a bracelet. I'm afraid it's going to be my nose ring." Laozi is extraordinary in refining pills and treasures. That must be a good treasure. It's just that it's still in the furnace and can't make it in time. The Monkey King said. The green ox said carelessly, "Do you think I'm joking? That treasure has been refined for a long time. When the 2 sages enlightened the world, they went in and took a look. Now, it's sealed in the furnace for nourishment. When your grandmaster opened the furnace to refine the golden cudgel, I secretly took a look. It's ready to be unsealed." This time, it was Chun Eng's turn to smile. It seemed like the game was just right, but Laozi only shook his head. Yi Shi, who was watching from the side, was confused. He didn't know what the 2 sages were trying to do. He looked down at the chessboard and saw the 2 dragons swaying their tails leisurely. There was not a hint of killing intent in them. The outcome of the game was far from clear. The green ox was bewitched by the Monkey King and changed back to its original form. It sneaked into the cowshed and carried the bronze carriage on its back. A big green ox with a horn stuck its head out of the cowshed and looked around. It didn't know that everyone was playing chess at the back of the mountain. It thought that no one was around for the time being. Its heart thumped wildly, and it quickly ran out of the cowshed and went straight down the mountain. The Monkey King, on the other hand, was much more daring. He turned into a mosquito and flew straight to the alchemy room where Laozi was refining pills. Once inside, the Monkey King's stubbornness was triggered. He rummaged around and found a gourd full of golden pill. He poured it into his mouth and chewed like fried beans. After eating half of the gourd, he suddenly thought, that old ox and I are on the same side. How can I keep such a good thing to myself? He even left me half a gourd. So I stuffed the purple gold gourd into my waist. He rummaged around for a while and didn't find anything else. He then walked towards the 8 trigrams furnace in the middle of the alchemy room. The 6 celestial fire inside was so bright that one couldn't open their eyes and couldn't see clearly. The Monkey King then opened the lid of the furnace. He didn't expect to get into trouble because of this. The golden pill of the 8 trigrams furnace wasn't hot enough. It was stimulated by the chi of vitality outside the furnace lid, and it turned into light and flew towards the spiritual mountains and rivers. It looked for spiritual opportunities and used the spiritual chi of heaven and earth to nurture it. The other few magical weapons that Chun Ong left in the furnace, and the Monkey King, made with the star-stabilizing celestial metal, also escaped. The Monkey King opened the lid of the furnace and saw dozens of golden lights and a few colorful lights rushing towards him. He subconsciously dodged, and the golden pill magical weapons escaped. When he came back to his senses, he realized that he had gotten into trouble. He was afraid that the 2 saints would be alarmed, so he hurriedly summoned a bright circle in the furnace. He carried it in his hands and escaped as fast as he could. At the back of the mountain, the old lord and Chun Ong saw dozens of golden lights and colorful lights flying from the building and escaped into the spiritual mountains and rivers. Chun Ong threw the chess piece and pretended to be angry. "Stupid monkey. When he comes back, I must strictly control him." The old Lord sighed. This is the will of the heavens. On the other side of the celestial river, the Monkey King knew that the deity went to borrow his master's golden ship of fate, so he waited patiently. He waited for a long time, but the great Emperor of Dong still did not arrive. He became suspicious and thought, could it be that Dong didn't keep his promise and is just using this opportunity to transfer me away? However, he did not know that the great Emperor of Dong had already concealed himself and secretly came to the Canopy residence. The Canopy Marshal was there enjoying himself. The Celestial River Navy was a lucrative job. The upper reaches of the Celestial River were the 9 heavenly stars and the 33 heavenly saint realms. Every year, countless extraterrestrial stars would fall into the Celestial River. The 33 heavenly immortal herbs would fall into the Celestial River and drift with the current. When they reached here, the Celestial River's flow was calm, and they were fished up by the Celestial Navy. There were countless rare metals and jade, heavenly materials, and earthly treasures. Chapter 860. Great Emperor Dong went straight into Canopy Palace and heard the sounds of young women chattering. He turned left and right, only to see light songs, graceful dances, and colorful dresses. It was a land of enchanting women. The golden-armored divine general was sitting amidst the flowers, intoxicated by the beauty. Canopy Divine General had a square face and big ears. Although he was burly, he looked like an idiot who had lost his soul to lust. Demonis, whip me. East Peak had never imagined he would see such an unsightly scene. The square-faced Canopy Marshal had tied himself up with a girl's gauze and was sprawled on the ground in front of a group of demonesses. One of the demonesses was stomping on his body, and the divine champion revealed an infatuated expression when her little feet came into contact with his face. Demonis, don't even think about humiliating me. Canopy Divine General spoke righteously, but his face was full of perverted excitement. This made the East Peak Great Emperor regret coming here. Come, you whipped me and tortured me. You're a deranged slut who's worse than pigs and dogs. I'm the Canopy Marshal of the Celestial Realm. I descended today to subdue demons, but I was captured by a demoness. How can I be humiliated by a lowly witch like you? Canopy muttered. The female Phase family stepped on Canopy's face and held the whip as if they were going to hit him. However, their faces were filled with fear as they stammered, "You lowly bastard. I, Empress Azure Snake, will pull out your tendons and flay your skin today," and, as he spoke, he lightly hit the Canopy as if he was pinching ashes. "Use more strength." The Canopy Marshal cried out, Don't stop. Come, torture me. Yes, use more strength. You're the demoness of the lower realms with boundless magic power. With the metal breaker whip in your hand, you'll tear my flesh open with a single strike." The demoness summoned up her courage and hit him twice, causing him to cry out in pain. He collapsed at her feet and tried to sniff the non-existent odor. Although the Canopy Marshal had a high status, this was the first time the Holy Maiden had played such a perverted trick. She couldn't take it anymore and threw down her whip, yelling, "Marshal, someone's coming." She then covered her face and left. The Holy Maidens in the hall all dispersed, leaving behind the Canopy Marshal with a face full of reminiscence. Tian Peng took a deep breath of the lingering fragrance in the hall and shivered. Suddenly, he felt all the happiness leave his body. With a dull expression, he slowly turned around and saw the shocked great monarch of the East Mountain. Immediately, a trace of embarrassment appeared on his face, and his face turned red. He struggled out of the ropes and climbed up from the ground. He coughed and said, "I was wondering who came to this remote place of mine. So it's great monarch of the East Mountain. Emperor, why do you have the time to come to my celestial river instead of judging the Yang?" The Canopy Marshal chuckled as if nothing had happened. The East Mountain sovereign emperor cursed in his heart. After some hesitation, he asked, "Where was the marshal earlier?" "Oh." Canopy Marshal blinked his eyes and said, "Seeing that the celestial river was fine, I summoned the female officials to reenact the story of how I went down to the lower realm to subdue the demons. I wanted to teach the female immortals and reenact the scene of me being captured by the great demon sage, being tortured and unyielding. Mother asterisk Kerr, unyielding. East Peak cursed in his heart. You're the golden pig who pulled the chariot from Motherdom back in the day. Because you grew up with Emperor Polestar, you were summoned to the Big Dipper Palace because you had some affection for Motherdom's chariot. Later on, due to fate, you were promoted to the Four Saints of the North Pole and obtained the lucrative position of Marshal Tianpeng. Think about how heroic the true Martial Emperor was to be ranked with someone like you. The North Star Emperor must have been blind. Who would have thought a chariot-pulling beast like you wouldn't forget the feeling of being chased around after becoming a divine champion? You're actually playing this kind of game in the Canopy Palace. I'm ashamed to be on the same level as you. But no matter how he cursed in his mind, the East Peak Emperor didn't show it on the surface. Although the Canopy Marshal was perverted, lustful, and lazy, he had connections with the North Star Emperor. The Mother Dumu used 7 golden pigs to pull the chariot, and the Canopy Marshal was one of them. Later, the Mother Dumu gave birth to the North Star Emperor. Out of consideration for the Canopy Marshal's hard work, she gave him to the North Star Emperor. He made many contributions in the North Star Court, becoming one of the 4 Northern Sages and the Canopy Marshal. His relationship with the North Star Emperor wasn't ordinary. The East Peak Emperor could only wipe his sweat and chuckle. Your Eminence is truly considerate. With that, he was afraid of bringing up this topic again. Aren't you afraid to tell your Eminence that I came here for a favor? Oh, the Canopy Marshal was surprised. Your Eminence is powerful in the court. Why would you need help from an independent person like me? There's a demon in the lower realm with extraordinary supernatural power. He attacked my mountain god court and caused havoc in the hairy ghost kingdom. I couldn't take him down, so I invited him to fight at the Celestial River. Forget about his supernatural power. I'm not afraid of him, but I'm not as good as his escape technique. Even if I defeat him, I won't be able to take him down. That's why I'm here to ask for your help. Hearing this, the Canopy Marshal's expression changed. What kind of demon is he? He has such great supernatural power that he dares to make things difficult for the Emperor? The East Peak Emperor said, he's a disciple of the immeasurable heavenly venerable. He's a stone monkey formed from a celestial stone on Mount Flowerfruit. The immeasurable heavenly venerable. The Canopy Marshal's expression was serious. I've heard a bit about this person. He's said to be the master of the Beyond Heaven sect, but to be able to produce such a lawless demon, his magical power must be extraordinary. After all, he's the master of the Beyond Heaven sect, a saint that descended into this world. It's not good to offend him. The Canopy Marshal hesitated for a moment, but he saw a hint of impatience on East Peak's face. He thought, if he sees my ugly side and I don't agree, he will hate me and spread the news. The Grand Empyrean's heavenly law wants to teach me how to behave. It's better to feign civility, pretend to agree, and then let that demon monkey go in secret. I'll just injure myself to gain the upper hand. How can East Peak make things difficult for me if I put my life on the line? There's no way I won't offend the immeasurable heavenly venerable. I became the Canopy Marshal in the Heavenly Court because I can read faces and not offend either side. The Jade Emperor is powerful while His Majesty Ziwei is in seclusion. If His Majesty Ziwei needs the immeasurable heavenly venerable and I offend him, wouldn't that ruin His Majesty's plans? The East Peak Emperor can't be offended either. I still need him to help His Majesty resist the Jade Emperor. So, I need to deal with this matter smoothly. He said, such a small matter. Emperor, just send me a document, and I'll mobilize 50,000 Navy to help. Only then did the East Peak Emperor smile. Very well, I'll write one for you. He took out the Jade Seal and wrote a decree requesting the Heavenly River Navy to cooperate with him in subduing the demons. He sent it to the Canopy. After the Canopy signed it, it was sent to the Jade Emperor for record. Then, he gathered the Navy and went to help the East Mountain Emperor. Chapter 861. Wukong had already grown impatient from waiting on the Celestial River. Just when he was about to fly into a rage and go to the mortal world to find trouble with the earthly gods of Mount Tai, the East Mountain's sovereign finally arrived. He stood on the form of a black tortoise and floated above the celestial river. Wukong asked, "Why have you been gone for so long? Are you afraid of me?" Hee. If that's the case, then I, old son, won't make things difficult for you. If you give up your position and give the position of the 5 elders to my master, then I'll forgive you." The East Mountain monarch wasn't angry and said indifferently, "Vile creature, how dare you speak so arrogantly? Do you know what's going on in the mortal world of Mount Tai? I'll go to the boundless, heavenly venerable after I suppress you. I want to ask him how he taught such a lawless demon like you." The Monkey King saw the calm expression on the East Mountain monarch's face and thought, "Not good. This old man must have a plan for me to delay for so long. I'm afraid he has invited help. Luckily, I've split a strand of hair to lure him out. I'll teach him a lesson when I borrow the golden ship of fortune." In the end, Wukong's stratagem was a notch higher. His doppelganger was not idling around in the celestial river. He had already fished up a few 9 heavenly stars that had sunk into the celestial river. The stars that had sunk into the celestial river were naturally not the 360 main stars of the heavenly cycle. They were just some scattered stars that had a diameter of a few hundred miles. Their weight was comparable to the mountains of Kunlun and Taihang in the human world. Wukong swallowed the stars and circulated his qi of vitality to refine them. His body was also as heavy as a few mountains. The East Mountain monarch couldn't be underestimated either. Multicolored qi gushed out from his body as he faced the East Mountain monarch head-on, above the heavenly river. The two figures moved rapidly and exchanged blows. The river surged and the palaces trembled. Giant sprays the size of mountains rose up and slammed at the two. The water of the heavenly river covered the universe, changing time and space. The water droplets of the heavenly river splashed up and turned into cosmic light, forming countless worlds that floated above the heavenly river. They recorded the fight between the two immortals and demons. The great monarch of Dong secretly released his Yuan Shun and hid at the side to ambush the Monkey King. East Mountain's primordial spirit took out the demon, revealing mirror from his sleeves. The reason he had delayed for so long wasn't just to ask for Canopy's help, but also to tidy up his treasures. The demon-revealing mirror was specialized in suppressing the original bodies of all demons in the world. The bronze mirror shot out a beam of light and locked onto the Monkey King's Naiwan Palace, sealing all of its transformations. The East Mountain Great Emperor then took out the stone he had placed on the southern balcony. This rock was known as the Fusong Stone, also known as the Mesmerizing Stone. East Peak hurtled toward the Monkey King's head from afar. The Fusong Stone emitted a yellow light that shone directly on the Monkey King's glabella. All cultivators in the world would find their primordial spirits enchanted by this yellow light. They wouldn't be able to parry the blow, resulting in their brains splattering everywhere and their skulls shattering. Wukong Liang's primordial spirit existed in neither emptiness nor existence, moving in and out with no boundaries. When he was illuminated by the yellow light, he was still dazed for a moment at first, but his primordial spirit instantly sobered up. He raised his rod and smashed the Fusong rock into pieces. "Cowardly rat, do you dare fight me head-on?" The Monkey King shook East Peak away with his rod and bared his fangs. How dare an unorthodox demon act so viciously? East Peak's primordial spirit slapped the back of its head, causing a jade bell to hover above it. It then chanted an incantation and closed its body together. A yellow cloud soared up, and a melodious bell chime rang out continuously. The jade-colored bell emitted yin and yang energies that locked Wukong in place. Divine Creation Bell, yin-yang cleave the twilight. That jade bell was Grandmaster Dai's divine weapon, the sacrificial tool of Mount East Peak, the yin-yang bell of fortune. It was a supreme treasure of East Peak with boundless, wondrous uses. It assisted the great emperor of the East Peak in dividing yin and yang and regulating life and death. It was a revered treasure of the yin and yang realms, a natural death treasure. The great emperor of the East Peak judged yin and yang, judging good and evil, as well as life and death. It was East Peak's companion treasure in controlling yin and yang and following the four seasons. As the yin and yang energy descended, the Monkey King's incarnation was about to be disintegrated after coming into contact with the innate yin and yang energy. The Monkey King's martial arts were divine and almost invincible. Even the great emperor of the East Peak wouldn't be able to beat him in close combat. However, East Peak didn't need to fight in close combat. It could just summon its avatar to block the enemy and launch a sneak attack with its primordial spirit. He was the son of heaven of the Yang realm, the lord of the mountains and rivers of the netherworld. There was no telling how many powerful treasures the Monkey King possessed. Trapped in the yin and yang qi, Wukong had no choice but to escape his primordial spirit and turn it into a quantum spiritual light of two worlds probability cloud. This auspicious cloud existed between existence and nothingness and wrapped around his body. Wukong's spiritual light was uncertain and in a quantum state. He could perceive the speed, but he could not know the position. If he could know the position, he could not know the speed. Its essence was like a wave function, causing the yin and yang qi to fall off one after another and break free from the entanglement. The Dong Yu Great Emperor shook the jade bell, and the bell rang 3 times. The invisible spatial fluctuations froze time and space. Above the celestial river, the wind, earth, water, and fire stirred up by the two of them froze in the void. The space where the two of them were was like a huge piece of amber that froze time. Even Wukong was like a mosquito sealed in amber, frozen solid. East Peak roared attack. Tian Peng complained, "How bitter! This great emperor of the East Peak is so capable. It looks like he's brought out all his trump cards." He had no choice but to summon the Navy to form the Milky Way cosmic light formation. 50,000 soldiers mobilized the celestial river and formed 9 loops. The Milky Way's weak water was condensed from cosmic light. The reason why it was so light and spiritual was because its essence was light. The Milky Way cosmic light formation formed a vast silver river. The droplets of water turned into incomparably large planets and galaxies. Although it was an illusion of the Milky Way, it was still extremely terrifying. The Monkey King was trapped in the formation. The speed of light was stagnant, so how could he escape? This was the Milky Way cosmic light formation. The speed of light didn't move, nor did time. There was no universe, no space, no time, and no space. No one could escape from this formation. However, the great emperor of the East Peak still felt that this wasn't enough. He pointed with a finger, causing countless lights and shadows to flicker. A river diagram containing countless profundities flew toward the formation. This was the great emperor of the East Peak's divine authority over all the rivers of the world, the river diagram. As the lord of the netherworld, East Peak had 3 treasures to show his identity. One was from the netherworld, a treasure that divided life and death, the yin-yang bell of fortune. The other was the lord of the world's rivers, a treasure that divided rivers, the river diagram. The last was the lord of the mountains, the object of the city god that suppressed the world. The river diagram was an important treasure of the rivers of the mortal world, a treasure of the earthly river. Canopy had mobilized the Navy to operate the Milky Way cosmic light formation and set up the Milky Way cosmic light formation. The combination of the river diagram and the formation was like the earthly river flowing into the Milky Way, causing the formation to undergo an unimaginable transformation. East Peak shook the creation yin-yang bell and summoned a river Styx from the netherworld, which merged into the formation. A river that ran through the 3 realms without beginning or end suddenly appeared. It descended from the 9 heavens, passed through the 33 skies, and fell into the mortal world. It spread to the 4 major continents before flowing into the netherworld. A Yellow Springs River Styx slowly passed through the 18 levels of hell. The Milky Way, weak water, blood sea, and yellow springs flowed within. The formation formed by this river was formed from the convergence of the three elements of heaven, earth, and water, the innate river Luo formation. Outside of the river diagram and the Book of the Luo, it could only be manifested when the three rivers of heaven, earth, and hell converged. Not to mention Wukong's hair clone. Even if Wukong himself was here, it would be difficult for him to escape the suppression. This was also why Chenong said that there weren't many in the world who could defeat the Monkey King, but Emperor Dongyu was one of them. At the base of Mount Zhongnan, the Monkey King opened his eyes and said in shock, "That was close. I wouldn't have escaped if I wasn't smart enough." Emperor Dongyu's essence spirit returned and laughed. "The demon monkey has been subdued. The three realms are at peace again." Only then did Venus Sovereign arrive with Zenyuanzi. Seeing the Monkey King suppressed by the innate River Luo formation, he said bitterly, "How bitter! East Peak sent Zenyuanzi to hold me back, but now that the Monkey King has been suppressed, the great heavenly venerate's scheme has been foiled. What should I do if he blames me?" On the other side, East Peak also saw Venus Sovereign and asked with a smile, "What do you want to tell me?" Venus Sovereign apologized. "I'm fine. It's Zenyuanzi, the ancestor of the Earth Spirit, who dragged me here to see your majesty." East Peak laughed. "You came just in time. I've suppressed this demon monkey and want to hold a demon-slaying conference with the immortals of the divine court of Mount Tai. Since you're here, why don't you join us? After I suppress this demonic monkey in the heavenly river's water eye, I will return the favor to Star-Lord." East Peak said with a smile. "How dare you?" A loud roar echoed as two figures appeared on the heavenly river cloud. One was a 3-foot monkey wielding a Jingu bang and stepping on a quantum cloud. The other was a burly man with a diamond chakram on his arm and a green bull's posture. It was none other than the stone in the mountain that had turned into a monkey. The saint had given him the name Monkey King. The Elder Lord sat on a green bull with horns and a flower on his back. "Sun Wukong, great emperor of the East Mountain," exclaimed in shock. "That's your grandpa," Monkey King replied. "What do you want to do to my little brother?" "Your little brother?" East Peak looked back at the monkey suppressed in the River Luo formation and asked, "You're a natural stone monkey. Where did this little brother come from?" The canopy marshal stole a glance and whispered, "They really look alike." "Huh, you ignorant old man." Monkey King said, "You don't know my background and only know that I'm alone. The immortal stones on the Cheeling Cliff were originally in pairs. Back then, when Nuwa was mending the heavens, she went to the Eastern Sea and took one of us. She wanted to refine it into a 5-colored stone, but I was lucky. By the time I refined it, there were already enough 5-colored stones. Later on, the Elder Lord put me in the cauldron as a suppressor. Later on, my brother was born, and I was also pregnant. Only then did Teacher accept us as disciples. My little brother led the bull while I nurtured the pills in the cauldron. The two of us took turns every day. That's why you don't know that there are actually 2 stone monkeys. I'm a Monkey King, and he's the Monkey King, traveling monk's son." "Enough with the idle chatter," Monkey King shouted. "Release my little brother, or I'll send you to hell." Chapter 862. Chenong placed a chess piece on the chessboard in front of him, and a Milky Way chi floated up. The white chess pieces that were placed on the chessboard were connected to a Milky Way chi that flowed from the 9 heavens to the 33 heavens. The Milky Way dragon swayed its head and tail as it flowed on the chessboard. The chi flowed into the middle board and the chess pieces that were scattered outside. The chi changed their layout and looked like the river diagram to the Laojun. Guanyin Bodhisattva sat in the purple bamboo forest while the Dragon Girl of Wealth was feeling uneasy. The Bodhisattva opened her eyes and looked at the divine mountain that was suppressing the jade bottle outside of Locket Mountain. A mysterious chi dynamic landed on the mountain, and it seemed to be connected to the human world. It suppressed the mountain, and not even golden deity Dara could overturn it. The Dragon Girl of Wealth asked uneasily, "Bodhisattva, is there a change?" Guanyin Bodhisattva said, "Go and see if the Lord of Mount Tai Palace, the Eastern Reverend Saint Great Emperor, is around." The Dragon Girl of Wealth went up the altar and looked at the fate of Mount Tai. She felt that the halo of the divine court was weak and on the verge of collapse. The hairy ghost kingdom's black aura was broken, and there were signs of a great loss of fate. She called the day Touring Lord and the night Touring Lord to ask about it. They reported Bodhisattva, the Lord of Mount Tai, somehow provoked a demon monkey. He overturned the hairy ghost kingdom and caused havoc in the divine court of Mount Tai. He has agreed to fight with the Lord of Mount Tai at the Milky Way. There's someone behind that monkey. Guan Yin Bodhisattva smiled. Although the Lord of Mount Tai is the earthly god and has a high status, the person behind him is extremely powerful. The Milky Way chi is circulating on the mountain that he is suppressing my pain on. The Lord of Mount Tai has even been seen through. I'm afraid the outcome of this battle will not go as he wishes. The dragon girl asked curiously, Bodhisattva, the East Mountain Emperor, is the earthly god and an important minister of the heavenly court. He has many friends in the three realms. How can he let a demon monkey bully him? The divine will of the grand heavenly Lord is unpredictable. Celestial Lord Donghua and I are blocked by the immeasurable heavenly Lord. Even if we have Jin Yuanzi to help us, would the Lord of the Earth Spirit be willing to give his all for the Lord of the Earth Spirit? With the immeasurable heavenly Lord's disciple making a move, if anyone in the three realms were to bully the weak, did they really think that the immeasurable heavenly Lord was easy to deal with? If he really provoked that Empyrean to personally make a move, then this matter would truly become irreconcilable, and there would be no room for buffer. The world hasn't even been established for 1 yuan, and now the killing tribulation is truly endless. Guanyin Bodhisattva was merciful and closed her eyes to meditate, no longer mentioning this matter. At this moment, on the chessboard, the chi dynamics were already clear. Chun Eng's white chessboard dragon was divided into 3 veins. One of the veins snaked over. The chi meridian was endless, evolving into the Milky Way. The other one scattered in all directions. Yet the chi dynamics were connected. The mystery was deep. The calculation was unpredictable, and there was even the charm of leaving a chess piece unplaced. It was like the river Styx in the river diagram. The last one was hidden deep, unfathomable, and seemed to exist at the same time. It really had the appearance of the netherworld opening up in the river Styx. These 3 connected heaven and earth, connecting the 4 seas, and occupied the water element of heaven and earth. As for Lao Juan's chess move, it was as open as a valley. Clear chi floated up to the sky, and turbid chi sank to the ground. On one side, the chess move was clear, mysterious, and unpredictable, like the 33 heavens. There was also the opportunity of the great Tao. Where the chi was lacking, Dara was the living eye, and the scattered zeros were the stars outside the sky. On the other side, the chess piece was heavy, divided into yin and yang, and had the attributes of the human world and the netherworld. The 2 chess moves were connected, and it was the appearance of the 3 realms. Lao Jun split heaven and earth, and Chenong played from beginning to end. One divided yin and yang, and settled the clear and turbid, and the other operated the chi dynamics to create the 3 realms. It was Venerable Dara who split heaven and earth, operating the 3 primordial creation Tao. After the creation of heaven and earth, yin and yang, and the 5 elements were formed, and the opportunity of the great Tao was the beginning of the immortal Tao. However, the immortal Tao can rely on the great Tao, while the divine Tao must have a foundation in the world. Be it the Taoist metal, wood, water, fire, or earth, or the Buddhist wind, earth, water, and fire, they're all emptiness of the great Tao and not the foundation of the world. Thinking about the creation of heaven and earth and the completion of the universe, other than the void, all matter and the foundation of the gods are heaven, earth, and water. Laozi nodded and smiled. The 3 primordial that you mentioned is the proper position of the gods since ancient times. All the gods in earth are included in the 3 primordial. Sacrificing heaven, earth, and water is the original form of morality. It is in line with Tai Ching, and it is the general description of all matter and the foundation of the world. Thinking about the East Mountain Emperor, he was originally the Lord of the Earth Primordial and the Water Primordial. He had the bearing of the Emperor of Heaven, the great Emperor of Ziwei, the beloved son of the Demu, led by the deity Star Deity, occupied the Heaven Primordial. Although it was only one yuan, the Heaven Primordial was the Lord of the three Primordial. Heaven was Yang, Earth was Yin, and Heaven gave birth to water. The Heaven Realm was the hub that commanded the three realms, and it was even better than the East Mountain Emperor. However, due to the competition between the two, the position of the Emperor of Heaven was left vacant for a long time. That was why the 33 heavens were created. Under the 9 heavenly stars, another heaven realm was formed. The Jade Emperor was born and became the Lord of the Heaven Primordial. Then, he worked with Buddha to divide the netherworld, splitting the Earth Primordial into two, the human world and the netherworld. After that, the great heavenly venerable Jade Emperor sealed the Dragon Clan in the 4 seas and weakened the Water Primordial of the East Mountain. His power grew tremendously. There was even more. The heavenly court was constructed with a system of superfluous officials and positions. The ancient Rainmaster, Thunderlord, Zhurong, and Gonggon's positions were all divided. The positions were blurred, and there were usually 4 to 5 immortals in one position. The 3 great emperors were divided into the 3 primordial powers, and the 5 chi supremes were divided into the 9 luminary star powers. The positions were messed up, and the weak officials became superior. His methods are truly impressive. Ruling from above, the 3 realms were ruled together. The great heavenly venerable Jade Emperor is really unfathomable. Chenong sighed. But what's the use of such a heavenly court? When the divine Tao flourishes, it offends the human Tao. When humans and the heavens offend each other, there should be endless slaughter. Love and hate, as well as retribution for good and evil, are originally part of the human Tao. Wind, rain, thunder, lightning, natural disasters, and disasters are the authority of the heavenly Tao. Now that the divine Tao has seized the authority of the human Tao, the immortals love and hate, so they send disasters. Good and evil are repaid, and there's a next life and a previous life. How can the divine Tao overrule the human Tao develop? Punishing the ruler brings disasters. How can the common people be punished? The great heavenly venerable uses the connection between heaven and man to operate the heavenly Tao. He talks about the good and evil of the human world and sends disasters and blessings. But if heaven and man cannot be separated, there will be chaos and there will be trouble. That's why the world is reopened every yuan hui to clean up karma. The immortals live forever, but the human Tao is gone. How are they different from stupid insects? The old man said, the great heavenly venerable operates the divine Tao to rule over the 3 realms. He has not lost his virtue, and he teaches all living beings to pursue good and evil, so that there is a Tao in the netherworld, and good and evil are repaid. Fellow Taoist, you're too kind. If good and evil are repaid, then there must be private interests in the universe. Natural selection, survival of the fittest, this is the heavenly Tao. Good and evil, benevolence and virtue are the human Tao. Using the principles of the human Tao to rule, the heavenly Tao is the current divine Tao. Thus, we lose the fairness of the heavenly Tao, and all living beings fight, and we lose the progress and development of the human Tao. Such a divine Tao will have a tribulation. So what do you think, fellow Taoist? The old man sighed. Chenong was silent, and after a long time, he made his move. Everything is impermanent, and the heavenly Tao changes. All immortals, saints, and Buddhas will have a tribulation. To test the divine Tao, everything that doesn't change will rot. Chapter 863. Tai Bai Jinxing was shocked to see another Monkey King. I saw the Monkey King's birth with my own eyes, and the clairvoyant and clairaudient divine generals personally reported it to the Grand Empyrean. How can there be another brother? Something's not right. I was also there when the Elder Lord turned into Nuwa to mend the heavens. The number of multicolored stones was clear, so how could there be one missing? Besides, Niwa killed a spirit turtle in the northern sea and cut off its limbs to form heavenly pillars. But I've never heard of her going to the eastern sea. There must be a trap. Tai-Bai Jinxing was experienced and knowledgeable. He gradually noticed that something wasn't quite right. Unlike East Peak, he hadn't clashed head-on with Wukong's primordial spirit and had never witnessed its earth-shattering abilities. On the contrary, he had lost a layer of insight. Wukong casually made up a lie, and the laws and principles behind it might not be that strict. According to East Peak's ability, it should have been able to detect it, but East Peak had fought a bitter battle with Wukong. No matter what, it was impossible to believe that such a troublesome enemy was actually just an incarnation. The great emperor of the East Peak wasn't necessarily going all out, so he wasn't afraid at all. On the contrary, he shot a glance at the green ox and snorted. It's the Elder Lord's steed. Humph! Could it be that the Grand Supreme Geezer has already made up his mind to go against me? And that boundless heavenly venerate, he's stirring up trouble, and even said that he'll, the great emperor of the East Peak said, replace the position of the 5 elders. He hadn't even finished speaking when a mysterious aura descended and erased the sentence from the world. The others only saw East Peak roar halfway before making this assertion. It was as if someone had erased that period of time. Those who didn't know thought that East Peak had stopped mid-sentence, but those who did felt fear in their hearts. Even the great emperor of the East Peak's expression was as ugly as death, but he didn't dare continue. On Mount Zhongnan, Chun'Ong withdrew his finger and looked up at the Grand Pure One smile. He could only shake his head. The great emperor of the East Peak's heart is in chaos. How dare you spout such baseless nonsense? In the end, you're too concerned about gains and losses, and your virtue doesn't match your position. The East Mountain Sovereign Lord's expression turned gloomy. The Monkey King fell into deep thought. After a long time, the East Mountain Sovereign Lord bellowed, "You and your disciple have humiliated me time and time again. Do you really think that I, East Mountain, am made of clay? I want to see what kind of magical powers you have. He's much stronger than your arrogant younger brother." Great Monarch Dongyu pointed at the Xiantian River Luo Grand Formation that trapped the Monkey King's clone. A river diagram appeared, encompassing the entire Milky Way. Within it, there were countless lives and deaths, and all sorts of illusions. With a single thought, the Milky Way weak water was summoned by the river diagram and refined into cosmic light like water. The power of time could create, stop, and destroy the void. The fragments of the 9 heavenly stars in the Milky Way weak water fell into the river diagram and were refined into pure vital energy by the cosmic light like water. How many magical powers in the world could withstand the refinement of the heavenly river? How many materials could withstand the washing of time? Speaking of which, why wasn't East Mountain afraid of the Monkey King? He had used the right time and the right place to refine this Xiantian River Luo Grand Formation. Not to mention one of the Monkey King's clones. Even if there were 10 million of them, what did he have to fear? All he needed was some time to refine them. The Xiantian River Luo Grand Formation was the least afraid of being surrounded. The East Mountain Sovereign Lord wasn't afraid, no matter how many people who had transcended time came at him. East Mountain could borrow the power of the formation, but the Monkey King couldn't really shake off the 10 million clones. At this moment, they were all useless. He could only break through the formation himself. That cosmic light galaxy sucked the Monkey King into the formation. Rather than saying that East Mountain sucked the Monkey King into the formation, it was more accurate to say that the Monkey King entered the formation on his own. The Azure Ox's expression changed, and Tai-Bai Jinxing was shocked. "Monkey King," the Azure Ox cried out. The Canopy Marshal shook his head and sighed. The East Mountain Sovereign hid too deeply. Back when I was pulling the chariot for the Mother Dumu, I still remember how the East Mountain Sovereign shook the 3 realms. Only after the Netherworld opened up and the Jade Emperor suppressed him did he gradually fall silent. Sigh. Not to mention the East Mountain Sovereign. Even His Majesty the North Pole is the same. The North Pole Monarch commands a North Pole, but the Jade Emperor just had to give him the title of 4 Saints of the North Pole. I only became one of them because His Majesty invited the Elder Lord to protect me. As the canopy marshal spoke, he became a bit dejected. What can I do if this is the will of the heavens? Why don't I go rest? Canopy marshal won't let down the Mother Domu and His Majesty. Let him be. There's a palace made in Tyene Lord's residence who looks really good. She makes my heart itch. Back at the Immortal Peach Banquet, when the Queen Mother ordered the palace maid to serve wine, she stole a glance at me. Is she interested in me? The Kawaii-wood wolf hooked up with a fairy maiden, but that fellow is cold and not as considerate as my canopy marshal. The canopy marshal fell into deep thought. Huh. A loud roar came from a Luo formation, and a Jingu bang suddenly pierced through the Milky Way. The Milky Way in the river diagram was formed by the light of the universe, but the Jingu bang on the surface of the Jingu bang distorted space and universes. The Milky Way grasped time, but the Jingu bang that Chun-Ong refined used its great mass to distort space. The Monkey King comprehended the essence of mass, one-dimensionality, and the gradual ascension of one-dimensionality from the microscopic world to the macroscopic world. Only he, with the full power of his quantum primordial spirit, could slice open the Milky Way and break the Luo formation. Space-time flowed in his palm, condensing one-dimensionality and producing a great mass, causing the void to collapse. He slammed his palm on the Milky Way, forcibly creating a black whirlpool in the flowing river of light. Such an existence that distorted time and space to the extreme and devoured light naturally had a great impact on the river diagram's operation of the Aeon-like galaxy. The silhouette of the river diagram even trembled slightly. The silhouette of the Aeon-like galaxy that appeared on it was distorted and on the verge of collapse. The Dongyu Great Monarch's primordial spirit landed on the river diagram and stabilized the formation. At the same time, he shouted, "General Tian Peng, lead the Navy and help me suppress this demon." Tian Peng sighed. I really can't run away. He could only summon the Milky Way Navy, and the 50,000 celestial soldiers set up the Milky Way formation. They gathered their vital chi together, and clouds rolled and merged with the Milky Way weak water below. A small Milky Way was formed, and it turned into a huge hand that reached into the Dongyu Great Monarch's formation to help him capture the demon. Monkey King wanted to test it, so he went up to meet it with his heavy cudgel. The hand was a transformation of the formation, and the cudgel's weight was no less than the neutron star. With the addition of Monkey King's strength, even the Milky Way weak water could be severed. However, the 50,000 Navy soldiers exerted their strength together with the transformation of the formation, producing a force that stopped the cudgel. Wukong tried a few different arts, but they were all countered by the Celestial River Division's formation. Wukong didn't think much of Tian Peng's formation at first, but when paired with the Khanate River Luo formation controlled by the Great Emperor of the East Peak, it had unfathomable power. Although the Great River Luo formation was powerful, East Peak lacked the support of the Book of Luo, so its operation was somewhat sluggish. However, the Milky Way Navy's formation had a different kind of intelligence, and it made up for the sluggish parts of the Milky Way formation, making it 10 times more troublesome. What a crafty scoundrel. Monkey King said angrily, "We agreed to fight one-on-one, but now you've called for so many helpers. If I wasn't prepared, I would have been caught by you." "Brat dong you." Monkey King shouted, "You're shameless." Chapter 864. The Golden Ship of Fate was originally a Dharma treasure that Chun-Ong had refined when his incarnation opened up the Calamity Sea and passed down the Narcissus Orthodoxy. However, when he refined this treasure, he merged the shadow of the cosmic war weapon Skynet from the memories of the Apocalypse Chun-Ong. It was a celestial Tao planet destroyer that was prepared to travel across the galaxy and engage in large-scale dimensional wars in the future. The resources needed, such as divine gold, true water, heavenly fire, and magnetism, were almost endless. Many resources that Chun-Ong had used to open up the Eye of the Sea were used to refine it. Later on, When Chun'ong transcended beyond the mortal world, he once opened up a few worlds in the endless space-time and used up the materials of those few universes to refine it to great success. The Monkey King raised his hand and released the golden ship of fate. A ray of golden light landed on the heavenly river. Even though the heavenly river was almost boundless, the golden ship of fate still occupied a lot of space as it floated on the heavenly river. It was almost half the size of the Tai Huang Huangxing Tian, almost like a world of stars. The green bull looked at the magnificent golden ship that was bobbing up and down on the heavenly river. His eyes were wide open, and he was almost speechless. The 129,600 astral demon dragon scales were like mountains, clinging to the body of the ship. The 6 divine fire wings of the sun were refined by Chun'ong into 36 stars, almost like the grand sun. The Taiji thunder pool, which was the power core, was almost like a heaven realm of the 33 heavens. It generated the yin-yang 2 modes creation magnetism on its own, providing endless power for the golden ship. The yin-yang 2 modes creation magnetism was injected into the 2 worlds' void destruction cannons, ternary star annihilation crossbows, and Tai divine thunder pagoda on both sides of the golden ship. A casual shot could almost destroy a world. And what connected all of this was the primeval dragon bone in the golden ship. The primeval dragon bone was like the ternary heavenly river that ran through the 3 realms. It operated the materials and energy of the entire golden ship of fate, supporting the space-time of the golden ship of fate, and even containing the spirituality of this treasure. In fact, within the golden ship of fate was a world that had yet to be created. It was a world embryo that Chun'ong had prepared to create, just like how Tai Ching had created this world. The dimensional war between 2 worlds was terrifying. In the future, Adam Chun'ong would lead the Republic's army into the Marvel Universe to fight with Chun'ong. The resources needed for the war would be an astronomical figure. It would probably not even if the materials of several universes were used to supply. The war would be endless. Universe. Universe, Chun Universe Universe. Universe ship of God Star, but the master of universe. Universe world universe would universe. The universe war's Skynet would world universe. Star had was world. Chun'ong was preparing to create a multidimensional universe to be the world inside the golden ship of fate to supply materials for war. The golden ship of fortune was only an experimental model. Only after Chun'ong and the other true bodies had finished discussing would immortal Dao sect leader Chun and divine Dao and Chun lend a helping hand. They would use this experimental model as a sample to build a planar war fleet. Compared to the original use of this magic treasure, the golden ship of fate was far from being successfully refined. It was still in its embryonic form, but its power was already extremely terrifying. However, Wukong had secretly borrowed it. Without the recognition of the original spirit of the golden ship of fate, the great killing weapons on the ship that could destroy stars and worlds, destroy heaven and earth, and open up the primordial world could not be used. Otherwise, with one shot, the void would be destroyed. Not to mention the 50,000 Celestial River Navy. Even if there were 500 million Celestial River Navy, they would all be turned into ashes. The Lord of Mount Tai would probably suffer a calamity. The most basic ability of the golden ship of fate was to cross the void and travel between the multidimensional universe. The weak water of the celestial river was condensed from the heavenly light of the universe. The celestial river was the path that connected the 3 realms and time. Traveling on the celestial river was the golden ship of fate's instinct. It did not need the cooperation of the original spirit to be able to function on its own. As soon as the golden ship appeared, it stopped the changes in the celestial river formation. Marshal Tian Peng looked at the treasure that was as huge as the heavenly realm and shivered. He shouted, "Damn it! Where did this monkey steal such a treasure? This treasure, how did it appear in the hands of this macaque? Which furnace can contain such a huge golden ship? Even the 3 pure ones in the 33 heavens and the great heavenly venerables sitting in the Lingxiao Palace of the Golden Arches can't take it out." The Vajra bracelet in the green bull's hand almost slipped. He pulled it, and put it back on his arm. However, his eyes kept looking up at the golden ship of fate. He said, "My God, this was what Old Cow usually hauled. Could it be that I also have the power to hold up the sky? If I had known earlier, I would have been able to go anywhere in the world with this treasure." The green bull suddenly felt evil and thought to himself, "If I take away this treasure, I'm afraid even the Grand Supreme Master can't do anything to me. At that time, I'll be a carefree demon king in the lower realm. Wouldn't that be great? If the Grand Supreme Master descends to the mortal world to take me down, I'll use this treasure and take him down. I'll make him ride me day and night." The green bull's eyes had just revealed a ferocious glint when he was suddenly illuminated by the golden light of the golden ship. He suddenly came to his senses and broke out in a cold sweat. "How did I have such a rebellious thought? The Grand Supreme Master has treated me well. How did I have such wild thoughts? I used to be an honest person." The green bull's eyes turned, and he said firmly, "It must be that brute monkey's influence. He's a lawless and unreasonable person, a ferocious demon. I've been led by him for too long, and my pure nature has been polluted. Great Emperor of Dong," you looked at the golden ship of fate under the Monkey King's feet with a stern expression. He saw the golden ship suppress the changes in the Khanate River Luo formation. The 50,000 Navy formed a formation to block it. The golden ship was controlled by the Monkey King, and a slight collision caused a huge wave on the Celestial River. The Celestial River Navy was in a mess. Many immortals and heavenly generals fell into the Celestial River, and it was unknown whether they were dead or alive. Canopy Marshall was a skilled swimmer. Before the wave of the Celestial River was pushed by the golden ship, he jumped into the river to save his life. He swam tens of thousands of kilometers from Canopy Palace before emerging from the water. He looked at the direction where the Monkey King and East Peak were facing each other and felt guilty. He thought to himself, "Why am I, a mere Canopy Marshal, participating in the battle between these two immortals? I almost lost my life." He looked at the Celestial River Navy that no longer existed and was filled with indescribable fear. He didn't even look back as he fled toward Canopy Palace. Tai Bai Jinxing saw this scene and thought to himself, "Grand Heavenly Venerate told me to protect the Monkey King, but now it seems that I should protect the great Emperor of Dongyu. That golden ship must have been refined by the immeasurable Heavenly Venerate. The Monkey King isn't a threat, but his master, the immeasurable Heavenly Venerate, is too terrifying." The immeasurable Heavenly Venerate coveted the position of the 5 elders of the great Emperor of Dongyu. Now it seems that East Peak is finished. Maybe he can save his life? East Peak's position won't be shaken so easily. But I'm afraid, at this point, I have no choice but to ask the Grand Heavenly Venerate to clean up the mess. At this time, the great Emperor of Dong was forced into a corner. He gritted his teeth, and a scroll flew out of his origin spirit. Countless mountains appeared on the scroll, depicting the primordial era. This was the ultimate treasure of the earthly god lineage. As the lord of the mountains and rivers in the world, the great Emperor of Dong, you controlled the ultimate treasure of all the mountains in the world, the 5 mountains true form scroll. This scroll and the heaven and earth mirror in great immortal Jin Yuan's hand were both ultimate treasures of the earth origin. The 5 mountains true form scroll flew out from the back of the great Emperor of Dong Yu's origin spirit and was about to land on the Khanate River Luo Grand Formation suppressed by the golden ship of fortune. It would merge with the river diagram. If the destiny of the mountains and rivers became one, new changes would occur, and there would be hope of breaking free from the suppression of the golden ship. But at this time, the azure ox had already taken off the golden chakram in his hand and said with a smile, "Great Emperor of Dongyu." The great Emperor of Dongyu looked up and saw the azure ox tossing the golden chakram into the air and shouting, "Catch!" With a swoosh, it turned into a circular beam of light and landed on the 5 Peaks' true image. Just one set was enough to turn East Peak's treasure, the true image, back into a scroll wrapped in the chakram and into the green ox's hand. The great Emperor of Dong Yu's face alternated between red and white. He was on the verge of going mad as he said, Azure Ox, return my 5 mountains true form, or else. The Monkey King jumped down from the golden ship and smacked the crown off the great emperor of Dongyu's head. Dongyu, you're like a stray dog, defeated by us brothers. What else can you be? The great emperor of Dongyu evaded in a hurry, but he had lost his courage and was far inferior to the Monkey King in terms of martial arts. The Monkey King brandished the golden cudgel like a serpent. He saw an opening in the great emperor of Dongyu's defense and immediately knocked him down. The cudgel was pressed against the great emperor of Dongyu's throat, ready to shatter Dongyu's avatar with a slight movement. It was at this time that a voice called out from behind, "Monkey King, little saint! Monkey King, little saint! Have mercy!" Chapter 865. Little Saint Monkey King, listen to me. Tai-Bai Jinxing flew over on a cloud and handed the imperial edict to Monkey King. I am an angel sent by the great heavenly venerate. The imperial edict is here. Little Saint Monkey King, please wait. Great heavenly venerate, Jade Emperor, knows about this. You are ordered by the heavenly venerate to protect the old lord's journey to the west. At the banquet of the king of Qin, you were instigated by the mortal warlock, T. Shaw, and disrespected the old lord. He offended the immeasurable sect master and caused you to make a scene. It was because of the conflict between the two sects that you didn't follow the heavenly commandment. The hateful mortal warlock, T. Shaw, tricked the king of Qin into sending a letter to the great heavenly venerate, Jade Emperor. The great heavenly venerate ordered the Thunder Division to investigate. The god of thunder caused trouble, and T. Shua borrowed the power of the four directions to fight with you. He obstructed the old lord's journey to the west. He deserves to die. Now I've sent people to capture him. I'm going to send him to the 18th level of hell. This person is the culprit, and he deserves to die. Later on, the two sides fought and damaged the harmony between them. Little saint, you swallowed the 80,000 mountains, leaving the mountain gods without anyone to rely on. Only then did you provoke the great emperor of Dongyu, who reduced your lifespan by several hundred years. Now that everything is clear, it's just a misunderstanding. Little saint, please stop fighting, and the heavenly court will naturally give you an explanation. When Wukong heard this, he thought to himself, what Master said is indeed correct. The Thunder God is clearly the culprit, but the Jade Emperor is secretly protecting him. The Thunder God is righteous in his conduct, and he actually pushed the blame onto T. Fengshe. The Jade Emperor is even more powerful. I killed him and had a good time. I didn't think too much about it. Now that I think about it, countless immortals have died. I was already in a dilemma. The heavenly court and I will fight to the death, but he let it go. So it was originally a dispute between me and the heavenly court. The culprit, the god of thunder, is also a trusted subordinate of the Jade Emperor. Now, it has become a situation where the great emperor of the East Mountain has lost face and even lost his position as the five elders of the five directions. Come to think of it, the Jade Emperor's prestige has not been damaged. He borrowed my hand to beat the Earth God, which would only make his prestige even greater. What a scheming mind, what a good power play. But this kind of scheming mind and power play can only be used as cunning and not righteous in the human world. That Jade Emperor of the Three Realms actually only knows how to use such petty tricks. It really makes people look down on him. Master's right. This Jade Emperor is immoral. I was having a good time this time, so I didn't think too much about it. The Jade Emperor was also giving me a way out. Otherwise, if we continue to cause trouble, we'll really send out all the soldiers of the heavenly court and provoke all the powerful beings in the world. That East Peak is indeed powerful. Each of the three treasures in his hands is extraordinary. I might not have been able to defeat him if I hadn't been vigilant and borrowed Master's treasures. As the saying goes, quit while you're ahead. I haven't mastered my skills yet, so I still need to learn more from Master. I can't be too arrogant. Why don't I cheat the Jade Emperor of some benefits and ask him to invite my master to be the Elder of the East? I'll admit defeat for a while. The Monkey King made up his mind, but he said, don't try to fool me. It's clearly the God of Thunder who is the mastermind. He humiliated me and neglected my master and the Elder Lord. What can a mere human alchemist do? Tai Bai Jinxing said politely, "Little saint." The Monkey King turned around and bared his teeth, making a face to scare East Peak. The Emperor of the East Peak glared at him furiously. The Monkey King shouted, "What a good old thief! How dare you act so fiercely? Brother Green Ox, lend me your hoop." The Green Ox didn't understand, but it wasn't appropriate to ask. It took off the Five Mountains true form painting and passed the Vajra bracelet to it. East Peak's eyes were about to burst into flames after seeing the Five Mountains true form painting. The Monkey King snickered. Taking advantage of the enemy's unguarded moment, the Vajra bracelet in his hand transformed into a ring of light that landed on the East Peak's head. East Peak's expression changed drastically as he felt a golden ring appear on his primordial spirit. Tai Bai Jinxing was a bit flustered. Why isn't this Monkey King following the rules? The Monkey King said, "I don't have the strength to watch over him, so I'll turn the Grand Lord's treasure into a golden hoop and place it on his head. If he dares to cause trouble again, I'll curse him and he'll know how powerful I am. Now, I'll focus on reasoning with you." Tai Bai Jinxing said in a panic, "His Majesty East Peak is the Emperor of Heaven, after all. How can you humiliate him like this? Little Saint Monkey King, release him." The Emperor of the East Peak was so angry that his stomach was about to explode. He suddenly stood up with a sinister expression, ready to fight the Monkey King to the death. The Monkey King only sneered and chanted an incantation. With a single movement, East Peak felt the golden hoop tighten around his head. The halo in his primordial spirit also flared up, giving him a splitting headache. He fell to the ground with a cry of agony. The Monkey King said with a smile, "My Vajra hoop was refined in the Taishang Laojuan's furnace. It's made of wood steel and true gold. It can be used on immortal treasures and can be used to fight demons and ghosts. When it's on your head, you can adjust its size at will. With a single chant of the golden hoop incantation, you will have a splitting headache, your eyes will swell, and your body will go numb. You won't be able to lift your hands. Without the method to undo the incantation, even Heavenly Venerable Dara won't be able to undo it." The moment the Monkey King thought of Heavenly Venerable Dara, Chunong sensed it. He shook his head and said with a smile, "Rude monkey, do I still need the golden hoop incantation to undo that bracelet? I'll just let you brag." Tai Bai Jinxing heaved a sigh of relief when he heard that it was refined by the Laojun. He secretly said to the day cruising god, "Quickly invite the Laojun over. If the Laojun can't leave, ask him how to recite the golden hoop incantation." The day cruising god hurriedly descended to the lower realm. When he arrived at the foot of Mount Zhongnan, he did not dare to barge in. He could only knock on the door and call out, "Grandpa Laojun, Grandpa Laojun." Then with a creak, the door was pulled open by Yishi. The day cruising god said anxiously, "Sir, please inform Grandpa Laojun that the Heavenly Court's Knight Cruising Divine General has invited you to the Heavenly River to subdue the demon." It would have been fine if he did not mention subduing the demon. However, when he mentioned subduing the demon, he angered Chenong, who was playing chess at the back of the mountain. Chenong sneered and said, "What a great Heavenly Court's Divine General. My disciple dares to call himself a demon and even wants to invite the Laojun to subdue the demon. I think it's the demon who is here to subdue you." Clouds rose behind Chenang's head. The Monkey King's quantum spiritual light, the two realms probability cloud, sensed it. He heard Chenong say, "Rude monkey, I've been lured away by someone. Keita doesn't know." The Monkey King hurriedly said, "Master." Chenong told him everything and ordered, "Handle it yourself. Don't let anyone disturb me." The Monkey King accepted the order respectfully and gritted his teeth. Tai Bai Jinxing, you're using words to frame me. With a thought, a strand of hair turned into a spiritual light and descended to the lower realm. Before Shi could reach the back of the mountain, he saw old Lord Taishang walking over from the front. He smiled and said, "I'm playing chess with the sect master. I can't clone myself, so I can only attend with my primordial spirit. You can leave now. Don't disturb me." Ishi obeyed and retreated. The day cruising god waited for a while and saw old Lord Taishang push open the door and beckon him to ride a cloud. The day cruising god vaguely felt that old Lord Taishang was a little too lively, but he did not think too much about it and could only follow. The old lord's cloud was faint and had a sage-like demeanor. However, at this speed, the great emperor of Dong, you would probably die of pain when he reached the heavenly courts. The day cruising god could only urge, "Grandpa, old lord, please hurry up. That monkey king has captured the great emperor of Dong Yu and is currently torturing him. If you go any slower, I'm afraid it'll be bad." The old lord only said, "I am a little slower. I can't roam the 3 realms like you. You can arrive in an instant. There's nothing I can do." The day cruising god gritted his teeth and said, "Fortunately, Grandpa's body is clean. Please get on my back. I'll carry Grandpa over." The old lord smiled and said, "Good grandson. Grandpa will go up now." As he said that, he climbed onto the day cruising god's back. The day cruising god did not see that the old lord on his back had suddenly turned into a monkey wearing an 8 trigrams immortal robe. The robe was draped over his body, and the long robe and hat were disheveled. It was a little comical. The day cruising god felt that something was wrong and asked, "Grandpa, old lord, why is your body smaller and the immortal robe is a little too big?" The monkey king used the voice of an old lord and said, "I keep shrinking. The older I get, the more I shrink. I think it's because I'm getting old that my body has shrunk a little. Wait a moment, I'll cast a spell for you to grow it back." As he said that, he made a hand seal and enlarged his body. The day cruising god still felt that something was wrong and asked, "Grandpa, why do I feel that there's hair on your body?" The monkey king pointed down and conjured a horsetail whisk. He hit the day cruising god's back and said with a smile, "I brought the horsetail whisk here. Don't ask anymore. It's more important to hurry." The day cruising god felt that it was right and quickly flew towards the heavenly river. Chapter 866. Monkey King, Little Saint. Tai-Bai Jinxing wiped his sweat and looked at the wailing East Mountain Empyrean Lord. "Don't go on. If you continue, East Mountain Empyrean Lord will be in trouble. Then do you promise me or not?" Monkey King only crossed his legs and smiled. Tai-Bai Jinxing's expression immediately changed. "Then why don't you just let the East Mountain Empyrean go?" "Monkey King, you're blackmailing Great Heavenly Venerate." Tai-Bai Jinxing moved closer to Monkey King and whispered, "Monkey King, let's each take a step back. That god of thunder will definitely be punished by Great Heavenly Venerate in the future, but we can't bring him out now. Give Great Heavenly Venerate face. Then East Mountain Empyrean Lord's title of Great Heavenly Venerate will be yours." Monkey King bared his teeth. "You're being generous. What Great Heavenly Venerate? I don't care. I'm not afraid to tell you that all my abilities were taught to me by Master. His abilities are 1,000,000 times stronger than mine, and his boldness is also 1,000,000 times greater. Now that I'm making a scene, I'm just humiliating Great Heavenly Venerate Lord of the East Mountain Empyrean Lord. That's out of respect for your Great Heavenly Venerate. Otherwise, I'm afraid it'll be difficult for you to do things outside the system of the Heavenly Court. This is my master's kindness. He's giving face to Great Heavenly Venerate Yu Huang by asking for the title of Great Heavenly Venerate. If Master also asks for the title of Great Heavenly Venerate and makes a scene like me, who do you think will lose face for?" Tai-Bai Jinxing trembled in anger. "Is the immeasurable Heavenly Venerate rebelling?" Monkey King sneered. "My master, not rebelling, is giving face to your Great Heavenly Venerate. Therefore, the title of Great Heavenly Venerate Lord of the East Mountain Empyrean is reasonable. As long as Great Heavenly Venerate understands the will of the heavens and is impartial, this position will belong to my ancestors sooner or later. Now that I've humiliated East Mountain Empyrean, I've made a position for Great Heavenly Venerate. Speaking of which, you should thank me, giving us what we deserve as compensation. How can there be such logic in this world? How can there be such logic in this world?" Tai-Bai Jinxing almost screamed. He pointed a trembling finger at the Monkey King and said, "You wreaked havoc in the Heavenly River, beat up the great monarch of Dong Yu of the Heaven Court, killed countless immortal lands, devoured the 100,000 mountains, destroyed the hairy ghost kingdom, and caused countless disasters. The Jade Emperor felt pity for your youth and naivety, which was why he covered up your sins and showed you mercy. How could you be so greedy? Cause trouble? Goku's expression changed. He raised the imperial edict in his hand and said, "Are you saying that the determination in this imperial edict is fake? Or do you think the Grand Empyrean's judgment was unfair? Is the culprit T-Fongshire of the human world? Was there a misunderstanding between me and Great Emperor Dongyu?" Tai Bai Jinxing sneered. "You want the imperial edict? After I report this to the Grand Empyrean, he can write a new one for you. Monkey King, you have to understand that this decree is only about the reason you wreaked havoc in the three realms. You are young and naive. The great Emperor Dongyu was careless, and T-Fongshire is the culprit. However, this is far from the end of the world. You have killed many immortals. How can this be erased by saying that you are young and naive? Isn't it up to the Grand Empyrean to decide whether I should be punished by the heavens or be punished with 3 cups of wine? Then I'll rebel." The Monkey King slammed his rod down and said, "You have to know that Great Emperor Dongyu is still in my hands, and I still have the artifact I stole from my ancestor. Do you see that golden ship? One shot from it can destroy the 33 heavens. No matter how many celestial soldiers you have, I'm not afraid. When the time comes, you still have to ask my ancestor to come and take the golden ship. I'm not afraid to tell you that my ancestor's courage is 100 times greater than mine. Do you believe me when I say that you will make him one of the 4 royals?" "Shameless," Tai Bai Jinxing said angrily. "The immeasurable heavenly lord allowed the monkey to wreak havoc and borrow the artifact to cause trouble. Do you really think the 3 realms doesn't know? You only know how to make fun of the world. How dare the immeasurable heavenly lord do this? My ancestor has a nickname, the immeasurable heavenly lord. How did you get that nickname? So what if the world knows? Will they dare to say it out loud? I'm not afraid to tell you that I have long understood the ancestors' intentions. I'm not afraid to tell you that I have long understood the ancestors' intentions. Right now, the ancestor only wants me to rebel. If we don't come to an agreement, I can still rebel with the artifact I stole. If we don't come to an agreement, we will rebel together. If that happens, there will be no place for us to talk." The Monkey King threatened. The Monkey King, little saint. Tai Bai Jinxing thought that this master and disciple were really lawless. However, he had no choice but to ease the situation. But the Monkey King turned around and ignored him. Tai Bai Jinxing sighed and softened his voice. He turned to the Monkey King and said, "The Monkey King, great saint. The immeasurable heavenly lord is a virtuous person, and everyone in the 3 realms knows about it." Tai Bai Jinxing said calmly, "But he has done nothing for the 3 realms. How can the Jade Emperor give him an official position?" The Monkey King said, "There's no need for him to do so. The great monarch of Dongyu knows that he is a lowly person and willingly gave up his position to my master." As he spoke, he chanted 300 curses. The great monarch of Dongyu was in so much pain that he had nowhere to go. Tai Bai Jinxing thought, "So what if I lied to you for a while? Why don't I agree for now and wait for the Grand Supreme Lord to come and remove the golden circlet on the great monarch of Dongyu's head?" The great monarch of Dongyu couldn't bear the humiliation and said, "Stop chanting. I did it willingly." Tai Bai Jinxing sighed and said, "Isn't it a little too unsightly to do things like this? Why don't we leave it for now and wait for the heavenly venerable and the Grand Supreme Lord to succeed? Then, the great heavenly venerable will reward you according to your contributions. The Grand Supreme Lord will be given an empty title, and your master will be given the title of the 5 elders of the 5 regions. This will make our faces look better." Tai Bai Jinxing was using a delaying tactic. Now that the situation was chaotic, the Jade Emperor was scheming, East Peak was manipulating people, and the Grand Heavenly Venerate had too many things to worry about. By the time the West beheading barbarian was done, the dust would settle, and the Grand Heavenly Venerate would be able to easily take control of the situation. But how could the Monkey King not understand this logic? He sneered and said, "You still want to lie to me? I've said it before. My master is strong and virtuous. He is the pillar of the three realms and the pillar of the heavenly court. If he doesn't sit on the position, this world will be like a long night. Not to mention the 5 elders of the 5 regions. Even the 4 emperors, emperor of heaven, is worthy. If you want to apologize, bring out other conditions. This one doesn't count. Tai Bai Jinxing swallowed his anger and said, "What do you think?" The Monkey King pondered and said, "What you said before makes sense. After all, eating the statue can't be too unsightly. But I have to guard against you guys going back on your words. How about this? We can talk about my master's title later. You guys sit on my seat first." Tai Bai Jinxing was shocked. He looked at the Monkey King with a gaze that said, "You're actually such a monkey." Chapter 867. Don't try to deceive me. The titles in the heavenly court are real and not fake. If it's a fake title, so what? It's just a little louder. The title of Great Emperor Chi of heaven and earth is real. You want to fool me with a fake title? Do you really think I'm stupid? The Monkey King sneered. But now that the deity positions of heaven and earth are full, how can there be any vacancies? Tai Bai Jinxing frowned. Little sage, don't make things difficult for me. Tai Bai Jinxing was conflicted. This fake title is easy to confer. It's not hard to say for Great Heavenly Venerate Jade Emperor. However, this monkey looks loyal on the surface, but I didn't expect him to betray his master. That fake title is more valuable than the 5 elders. After all, it's a noble title with no real power. However, Great Heavenly Venerate doesn't want the immeasurable Heavenly Venerate to extend his hand into the heavenly court. If I can sow discord between them, a fake title is worth it. The immeasurable Heavenly Venerate sent this monkey to cause trouble in order to ask for a title for himself. This monkey was greedy and messed things up, but he became the heavenly court's great emperor. How can the immeasurable Heavenly Venerate tolerate him? When the time comes, his backer will fall. What can he do even if he says that the title is real? This monkey hasn't seen much of the world. He doesn't know that the official positions in the heavenly court are layered and complicated, without earth-shattering means and a strong foundation. So what if he's real? Won't he still be a figurehead? Firstly, this monkey had no foundation. Secondly, he had no backing. In the heavenly court, he's just a toy that can be crushed by others. There's nothing to worry about. This is possible, but I have to ask Great Heavenly Venerate before I can decide. Tai Bai Jinxing ordered the Night Patrol God to send a message to Great Heavenly Venerate Jade Emperor. He continued to feign civility with the Monkey King. Little Sage. No, now I have to call you Great Sage. Tai Bai Jinxing cupped his hands and said, "I wonder what title you want?" Wukong smiled and said, "Although I am born with a spiritual background, I have the appearance of a beast. Of course, I have to command the demons in this world. There are tens of thousands of beasts, but the spiritual ones are under my control." Tai Bai Jinxing said carefully, "Great Sage, these demons are called demons because they refuse to be controlled. In the heavenly courts, there were only the venerables who wiped out the demons and pacified them. There was no position to rule over the demons. What's more, all of them are born with spirits. If they obeyed, they became immortals and gods. If they disobeyed, they became demons. Those who obeyed the heavenly court were under the command of the great celestial sovereign, the Jade Emperor. They were immortals, so how could they be commanded by the great sage? As for those who disobeyed, what did the great emperor of the heavenly court have to do with them? When they see you, they might even try to kill you. What do you mean by that?" The Monkey King laughed. "Do you think I've never mingled with demons before? Those who disobeyed were all great fiendish demons. There were only 3 to 5 of them. Most of them were people from the heavenly courts and the spiritual mountain. Only with deep relationships could they live freely in the world. As for those little demons, it's not that they don't want to obey, it's that the heavenly courts don't want to accept them. Other than humans, all kinds of spirits can't become immortals without the tribulations and tortures. Many fear the heavenly courts. Those who wanted to submit were rejected. It's the heavenly courts that cut off the door for all spirits to submit. It's the heavenly courts that force the spirits to become demons. Now that you say that they don't want to be controlled, then let me control them. I'll wipe out the demons and make all spirits into a kingdom, and I'll be the great emperor. Coincidentally, the heavenly courts don't have such a position. Let the Jade Emperor issue a decree to make me the leader of all spirits in the world. Other than humans, all of them will be under my control. I'll be the Demon Emperor, and I'll be the Jade Emperor. Isn't that perfect? This. Tai-Bai Jinxing was troubled. This is unprecedented in the heavenly courts. I'm afraid the officials will be uneasy. Great sage, don't make things difficult for me. There's no such rule. The Monkey King smiled. That's the fault of your great heavenly lord. After he became the Emperor of Heaven, he made humans the leader of all spirits and ruled over the 3 realms. However, all spirits in the world were abandoned. They were rejected outside the heavenly courts and had nowhere to go. Do you think there's no one to manage the demons? Before the Jade Emperor returned, there were mountain deities and river deities who led the demons. There were stars who ruled over all spirits. Now, the mountain deities are doing nothing. The stars are hidden, causing the demons in the human world to have no place to belong. This is the fault of the Jade Emperor. If you don't repent, are you going to continue to do this? I'm asking to be the Demon Emperor. It's in accordance with the will of the heavens. Why can't I? The Monkey King shouted. Tai-Bai Jinxing broke out in cold sweat and said with a trembling voice, "Even if the great Emperor of all spirits appears, he might not be you, right? How dare he?" The Monkey King held the golden cudgel and sneered. "I'm also born of all spirits in the world. Who dares to be my emperor? Aren't you afraid that I'll beat him to death?" Tai-Bai Jinxing wanted to argue, but was interrupted by the Monkey King. "You old man, you're so long-winded. Tell me, are you going to grant me the title of Demon Emperor of all spirits?" Tai-Bai Jinxing broke out in cold sweat. Luckily, the Jade Emperor's imperial edict had arrived. It said yes. Tai-Bai Jinxing tried to figure out the imperial edict and thought, that's right. The Lord of all spirits has a high position and power, but he doesn't have a strong foundation. This Monkey King is ambitious, but he has offended his own master. Although he's strong, it doesn't matter. He has a strong foundation and leads the demons in the world. How can he convince the masses? The great demons in the world have a strong background and powerful abilities. Even the great heavenly Lord is difficult to deal with. This Monkey King is willing to jump into the fire, so why should I care? Even if he has the support of the immeasurable heavenly Lord, his magic power is unbelievably strong, and he has suppressed all the demons in the world. But the officials of the celestial heavens are stacked on top of each other. One official has many subordinates. He only commands the beings of all spirits in the world. There's Celestial Lord Gauchin, the East Mountain Celestial Lord who commands the mountain gods and the mountain demons. There's also the River God and Dragon race, who command the water race. There's the North Pole Emperor Jinwu and the Devil Rinsing Heavenly Lord. With so many restraints, what can the Demon Emperor of all spirits do? In terms of grade, Celestial Lord Gauchin is higher than him. In terms of foundation, can he be stronger than the Four Seas Dragon race and the East Mountain Earthly God? This isn't a battle of magical powers. Even if it's a battle of magical powers, can he be stronger than the Jinwu Emperor? In the end, it's still the great heavenly Lord who plucks the peaches. Tai-Bai Jinxing sighed and said, "I still have to ask the great heavenly Lord to decide." However, great sage, the title of Demon Emperor of all spirits has never existed in the celestial heavens before. There's no precedent for that title either. Have you thought about it? By saying that, Tai-Bai Jinxing had already agreed to Monkey King's request. What he meant was that he was just going through the motions. The Monkey King knew and smiled. That East Mountain is the great emperor equal to heaven. He was defeated by me. All spirits in the world are the essence of creation and are equal to heaven. My title is equal to heaven. However, this title is very unlucky. It's better to turn it around and call it heaven's equal. I'll be the great emperor of all spirits, Demon Emperor, equal to heaven. Tai-Bai Jinxing said, humans are also one of the myriad spirits, and the human emperor is the subordinate of a human emperor. Therefore, the title of all spirits can't be added. I'll be the great emperor of all spirits, demon emperor, equal to heaven. The Monkey King didn't want to fuss over such trivial matters. However, he didn't know what Tai-Bai Jinxing was thinking. The titles of the great emperor of the celestial heavens were all based on the number of words. The more noble they were, the more words they had. With that, it was also a scheme to reduce the Monkey King's title from 8 words to 6 words. It was also a scheme. However, even if the Monkey King knew about it, he wouldn't take it to heart. The title of the celestial heavens was just a famous item. He did not really expect the title of the celestial heavens to be of any use. The Monkey King was bold and had long stopped caring about those things. Chapter 868. The Monkey King naturally had a better plan, but Lord Tai-Bai Jinxing was not an ordinary person. As long as he waited for the day, cruising god to return with the Grand Supreme Elder's Dharma body or the spell to break the curse, things would change. However, the Monkey King had already set up an ambush in advance and taught Lord Tai-Bai Jinxing a lesson. On the other side, the Monkey King had a plan. The Grand Supreme Elder, who was sitting on the day, cruising god, suddenly smiled and said, "Deity, don't go to the heavenly river again." Lord Tai-Bai Jinxing is impatient with the Monkey King's invitation. It's worth reporting to the Jade Emperor on his behalf and asking for an official position. The two of them are already heading to the numinous Sky Hall. Even if you go to the heavenly river, you won't be able to find the two of them. Why don't you turn around? The day cruising god did not suspect anything and turned towards the numinous Sky Hall. On the other side, the Monkey King pretended to be impatient and said anxiously, "Since you've already discussed with me, why don't you quickly ask the great heavenly venerable to release my title and settle it in front of the immortals and officials in the numinous Sky Hall? I'll release East Peak. If you continue cursing, I'm afraid he'll lose half his life." Lord Tai-Bai Jinxing only stammered. He knew that he could not deal with the Monkey King's urging. He said helplessly, "Great sage, it's disrespectful to the heavenly courts to ban the divine venerable. Why don't you let go of the great emperor of the East Peak temporarily to show your submission?" "Cut the crap," the Monkey King shouted. "The heavenly courts is very bureaucratic. If I don't hold on to your weaknesses, who knows how many twists and turns you can make and turn around to pinch me. Go, or I'll be blind." Lord Tai-Bai Jinxing could not do anything to this lawless monkey demon. He could only follow the Monkey King to the numinous Sky Hall. The Monkey King, who was behind them, shook his body unintentionally, causing his fur to fall off. The scenery of the heavenly palace was majestic and unique. The Monkey King, a little demon from the countryside, had never seen it before, so he was a little curious about it. However, the golden ship of fate in his hands was also impressive, so he did not show any vulgarity. Instead, he was calm and composed, with the demeanor of a demon emperor. Tai-Bai Jinxing led the Monkey King to the outside of the Divine Wind Palace. Without waiting for an edict, he went straight to the front of the emperor and paid his respects. The Monkey King stood at the side. He did not pay his respects, but listened attentively to Tai-Bai's report. "Your Majesty, we've brought the demon immortal who wreaked havoc in the Milky Way." Great Heavenly Venerable Jade Emperor asked, "Which one is it?" The Monkey King did not answer. Tai-Bai Jinxing gave him a look in panic, but he pretended not to see it. Tai-Bai Jinxing was helpless. He could only step out and say, "The one behind me, is it?" The Monkey King was like an old monk in meditation. He turned a deaf ear to everything, causing 2 heavenly generals who had been beaten up by the Monkey King to jump out and shout, "The demon from the lower world, the one with scales and horns, you don't know the rules. When you see His Majesty, you don't even kneel. When His Majesty asks you, you don't even answer. This is a great crime of disrespect. Please kill him to warn the world." Another heavenly master, Su, jumped out and reported to the Jade Emperor, "The demon from the lower world is disrespectful to the heavenly might. He should be sent to the path of beasts for 10 reincarnations and suffer the pain of the 18 levels of hell." "Heavenly Master, you're too serious." Tai-Bai Jinxing groaned in his heart. He could only come out and explain that Monkey King was only a few decades old and has never seen the world. Maybe he saw the heavenly countenance and was at a loss. As the saying goes, the ignorant are not guilty. How can such an ignorant mountain spirit be punished by the heavenly law? Great heavenly venerable, please show your holy virtue and forgive him. Monkey King, do you know your crime? One of the heavenly generals shouted. It was the celestial heavens Wu De Xing Jun. So, you also know that my name is Monkey King. Monkey King suddenly opened his eyes, and the divine light in his eyes startled the numinous sky hall. He stepped out and said, I was born from the celestial stone of Mount Huagua. I worshipped Heavenly Father and Mother Earth. I'm psychic and know life and death. After that, I worshipped the beyond heaven's cult master, immeasurable heavenly venerable. I learned the supreme Tao of celestials and divine arts. I once heard Sage Kong talk about ethics and pulled the ox cart for old Sage. When the three sages talked about Tao, I was also at the side and explained the principles of the three religions. My master is the leader of the human Tao sect, and my teacher is Teacher Kong Xiu, the Taoist Old Lord. Calling me fellow Taoist is what I deserve. Calling me Taoist priest is not wrong. Even if you call me teacher or student, I will accept it. Even if you didn't write down the etiquette, you still said my name when you called me Monkey King. Then who was the demon immortal that caused havoc in the celestial river? Monkey King shouted. How dare you? Impudent! Impudent monkey! Loud shouts could be heard coming from both sides of the court officials. Tai Bai Jinxing was terrified, thinking, this unruly monkey really has the temperament of a heavenly king. But Wukong only sneered. Defeated generals, clay chickens, and pottery dogs still dare to be rampant in front of me. He looked over, and the divine light in his eyes swept past the faces of the 36 heavenly generals, 36 thunder generals, for marshals, and god of thunder and goddess of lightning. It only made their hearts turn cold. A quantum erratic cloud of spiritual light rose behind Wukong's head. With just a press, it had the weight of countless mountains, suppressing the ministers to be unable to speak. Such a lawless act was indeed boundlessly savage. Tai Bai Jinxing said that it had the temperament of a heavenly emperor, but he was still young. At least the old man of the pagoda-bearing heavenly emperor wouldn't dare to make a scene in the numinous sky hall. The Monkey King stood tall in the Lingshao Hall while the officials remained silent. How majestic, how ferocious, as if he didn't put the Jade Emperor in his eyes at all. Luckily, the Jade Emperor was shrewd and no one could tell what he was thinking. He didn't get angry at the Monkey King's antics. Instead, he said calmly, Your cultivation is indeed profound, Jinren of the Tao. Jinren Monkey King, keep your divine arts. The Monkey King then bowed and replied, I understand. The Jade Emperor continued, Yesterday, the king of Qin sent Huang Biao up and said that there was a demon that caused havoc in the Qin court. He asked the celestial generals to come down and exterminate the demon. I ordered the Thunder Department to investigate. Is there any result? The 9 heavens Thunder Heavenly Lord stepped out and said, There is a conclusion. It was the king of Qin's servant, Tissot, who sowed discord and instigated the king of Qin to invite Laozi and the immeasurable heavenly lord to a banquet. This caused the 2 sages to be indignant and caused a commotion. This was a trivial matter in the mortal world and wasn't under the jurisdiction of the celestial court to exterminate the demon. After that, the god of thunder who came down to investigate believed the scoundrel's words and gave him a summons from the celestial court. This caused the human alchemist, Tissot, to invite the 5 mountains and 10,000 mountains to block Laozi's path to the west. This was a heaven-defying action. The Jinren, the Monkey King, fought with Laozi to protect the 2 sages' journey to the west. This resulted in the great emperor of Dongyu. Due to the misunderstanding, Jinren Monkey King's lifespan was reduced, and the 2 fought at the Milky Way. The misunderstanding has been resolved. The great emperor of Dongyu said that Jinren Monkey King had protected the 2 sages' journey to the west and was willing to hand over the position of the great emperor equal to heaven. This grand event of transforming the whose merit is for the celestial court to educate. As soon as this was said, the entire hall was in an uproar. Lord of martial virtue said, This Monkey King killed and injured countless celestial soldiers and generals, causing a great disaster. I don't know what spell he used to confuse the great emperor of Dongyu. How can he convince the masses? This cannot be done. Not only can he not be given an official position, he must also be punished. With him taking the lead, many people who were beaten up by the Monkey King nodded their heads. Celestial Master Zhang reported, "As the saying goes, if one's virtue does not match the position, there will be a great disaster. Even if the great emperor of Dongyu is willing to hand over the position, this Monkey King has no foundation, no virtue, and no merit to the heaven and earth. How can he be worthy of the throne?" Chapter 869. Celestial Master Zhang sneered. Convincing the masses is a virtue. Obeying the heavens is a merit. Monkey King, although you have some merit in protecting the old lord, not to mention the fact that you have not done your best, even if your merit is complete, you are only worthy of a Taoist sex protector. You can be considered a fourth-grade miscellaneous general. How can you take up the throne? You should just keep your wishful thinking to yourself. Celestial Master Zhang flicked his sleeves. Obeying the heavens for merit. Wukong said, "Now that the master of all living beings in the world has been vacant for a long time, it should have been the Earth River God under the command of the Eastern Mountain Monarch to lead the people on his fief who have gained sentience. Other than humans who are born with intelligence and are led by the human emperor, all living beings in the world who have gained sentience and have not been able to be ranked among the immortals have the Mountain God and the Earth God, the River God and the Dragon Palace, the Gochun Upper Palace and the Heavenly Emperor, and the Jinwu Great Emperor to control them so that they won't become demons outside of the rule. Now that the demons have gathered, where are the rules of the Heaven Court?" Monkey King shouted. "All the spirits in the world are unrestrained. The Earth God is free, the North Star Emperor is in hiding, and the Jinwu Great Emperor only knows how to slay the demons, but doesn't know how to deal with them. The demons know the Mountain King, but don't know his majesty. They are controlled by the demon sage, but not the rules of the Heaven Court. Even the Netherworld is being blackmailed by the powerful demons. Where are the rules of the heaven and earth? Now that the East Mountain Monarch knows that he can't control the demons, he gave me the title to lead all the spirits in the world. Isn't that following the will of the heaven and earth? What's the difference?" Tai Bai Jinxing knew his place and stepped out after getting the Monkey King's look. Monkey King's words are biased, but they make sense. Great Heavenly Venerable, why don't we follow the East Mountain Monarch's wishes and give him the title of Heaven's equal Demon Emperor? He will rule all the demons in the world, wipe out all the demons in the world, and establish the rules of the Heaven Court. Jade Emperor nodded slightly, and the immortals said, "So the Great Heavenly Venerable wants to fill the pit with this monkey. Are all the demons in the world easy to control?" Those who didn't have a strong background were all wiped out by Jinwu Great Emperor. The rest are either extremely powerful or have deep connections. This Heaven's equal Demon Emperor is just a trap. There are so many immortals in the three realms who are raising those demons. You can't touch them. Someone immediately guessed the Emperor's intention, and the number of people who opposed was reduced by half. However, Celestial Master Zhang still said stubbornly, "How many virtuous experts in the celestial courts can't be the ruler of all living beings? Yet you, a child who can't convince the masses, have to ascend to a high position? Even if you have the merit of obeying the heavens, do you have the virtue to convince the masses? Who will serve you? I can't accept this. How can this demonic monkey be called the Venerable One?" The strange cries below were exactly what Celestial Master Zhang had said. Wukong, on the other hand, was unperturbed. Instead, he smiled and said, "Convincing the masses makes some sense. However, this great emperor, heaven's equal, led all living beings, gathered demons as his subordinates, and turned demons into obedient people. Such a venerable emperor, if he wanted to convince the masses, he would have to subdue demons with virtue and gain their support. Celestial Master Zhang, do you agree?" Celestial Master Zhang nodded and said, "Of course." The immortals in the hall snickered. This Celestial Master Zhang is really cunning. He even tricked that demonic monkey. That demonic monkey was only born for tens of years, and he became the disciple of the Beyond Heaven sect master. He didn't have any friends and was only famous among the demons. On the other hand, that celestial master Zhang has a strong foundation and is friends with many demon immortals. It seems like this old man is interested in his title. The Monkey King continued, "Then if I raise my arm and call for the masses to respond, with many followers and all the demons in the world, can I be the great emperor, heaven's equal?" Although Celestial Master Zhang was doubtful, he knew that the Monkey King didn't have a strong foundation. So he said, "If that's the case, I can recommend you to the great emperor, heaven's equal together with the officials in the hall." "That's great." The Monkey King suddenly soared into the sky and shouted, "Where are the ones who respect me as the great emperor, heaven's equal? The old Taoist is here." A response came, and everyone turned around to see the old lord in a Taoist robe, sitting on the back of the sun, cruising god. He shouted in front of the Lingxiao Hall, "Perfected Monkey King is a person of virtue and prestige. He deserves this position." Celestial Master Zhang's expression changed. Taishang Old Lord winked and said, "Not only me, when I passed by the southern heavenly gate, I saw many fellow Taoists hearing that perfected Monkey King was asking to be the demon emperor. They were all excited and came to ask the great emperor, but they were stopped by the 4 heavenly kings. I pitied their sincerity, so I brought them in." Just as he finished speaking, countless auspicious clouds soared. In the clouds, heavenly flowers were spinning, and wonderful sounds could be heard. There were people holding flower drums, pipa, golden umbrellas, cranes, and dragons. Countless immortals gathered together, and the clouds covered the sky, almost covering the entire 33 heavens. It was really a sky full of celestial light. Celestial Master Su shouted, "Why are there so many unfamiliar itinerant immortals in the 3 realms? Are the immortals of the 10 continents and 3 islands nothing more than this? How did this Monkey King cultivate good karma to have such immortals asking for his orders?" Celestial Master Zhang asked suspiciously, "Why do these Taoists look so unfamiliar?" The white-haired old immortal in the lead rode a crane and said, "We are all ancient immortals before the Dragon Han calamity, the latest immortals to obtain Tao during the 3 sovereigns era. Although we are itinerant immortals with no rank or rank, we have also heard of Taoist Monkey King's name. We deeply agree with him asking to be the demon emperor, so we came together to ask for his orders. Perfected Monkey King is in line with the will of the heavens. We congratulate Taoist Monkey King." The sky full of itinerant immortals said in unison, "We congratulate Taoist Monkey King." Celestial Master Zhang's face turned pale, and he said, "This demon monkey actually has so many people's hopes. Could he really be the son of Providence? Otherwise, why would there be so many ancient immortals asking for his orders?" The Monkey King smiled and said, "I understand your good intentions. This numinous sky hall is the sacred presence of the great heavenly venerable. You shouldn't disturb it. Leave." As soon as he finished, countless auspicious clouds descended, and immortal light scattered in all directions, hiding in the 3 realms. The Monkey King asked, "How about this? Is Celestial Master Zhang convinced?" Celestial Master Zhang's lips trembled, but he still said with a strong will, "I'm not convinced. We have already agreed that the Demon Emperor needs the support of all the demon spirits in the world. What use are these heaven and earth itinerant immortals?" As soon as he said this, the 4 heavenly kings came to report in a panic, their faces pale. "Report, great heavenly venerable, countless demons came out of nowhere and fought their way to the southern heavenly gate, raising their banners and shouting. Among them, there are thousands of powerful demon kings, countless demon soldiers and demon generals, and they seem to have the intention to attack the celestial palace. They're speaking nonsense. Please judge them, great heavenly venerable." The Jade Emperor asked, "What did those demons say?" The 4 heavenly kings looked troubled. The Jade Emperor ordered the Qianli Yin to bring the demon illuminating mirror and shine it outside the south heaven gate. He saw a demonic wind sweeping and black clouds filling the sky. The stench of blood rushed into the sky. The demonic clouds and demonic fog covered the sky. There were more than 600 demon kings and great sages, including the Rock King, the White Elephant King, the Azure Lion King, the Macaque King, the Flood Dragon King, the Yellow Tiger King, the Spirit Leopard King, the Great Whale King, and the Thin Dog King. They blocked the South Heaven Gate and raised their flags. If the Monkey King didn't rule the world, the demons would be like a long night. The sun rises in the east, Monkey King. The heavens equal Demon Emperor. The celestial river stone man with one eye incites the demons in the world to rebel. In the future, I will be the emperor of heaven of Chi and repay the world to return to its kind. Suddenly, the heavens equal grinds the pole, and the emperor's star shakes high. Enter the heavenly gate with a knife and hold the king's head. I can replace him. Live as the demon emperor. Die as the emperor. Chapter 870. Cold sweat covered Tai Bai Jinxing's forehead, and he used his sleeves to wipe it off carefully. He moved closer to Monkey King and said softly, "Monkey King, little sage, you have passed. You have passed. Quickly disperse those demons. If not, the rewards will be gone and a disaster will befall us." Monkey King said lazily, "Old man, what are you talking about? The demons outside the southern heavenly gate are pleading for the lives of the world. Even if I have a small reputation, I am just serving the lives of the world. How can there be such a ruckus? This is the voice of the demons. All the demons in the world have suffered from the tyranny of the heavenly court. In this land where evil flowers bloom, may democracy." Great sage, Tai Bai Jinxing gritted his teeth and interrupted him. "Great heavenly venerable has decided that you will be the demon king. But," Monkey King waved his hand, "no buts, I can't do this. You guys can find someone else." Great sage Monkey King, "You have to consider this carefully," Tai Bai Jinxing said solemnly. Yukong only grinned and ignored him. Among the demons below, an azure-clothed scholar soared into the sky and sang. Now, the myriad demons have gathered for the sake of enforcing justice on behalf of heaven. The heavens are unfair. To think that there are tens of thousands of creatures in this world, there is no end to life and death. They live in the morning and die in the evening, sinking into the sea of bitterness. We were born as ignorant birds and beasts, or ignorant plants and trees, hunting and killing each other. Fortunately, we were able to absorb the essence of the sun and moon, gaining spiritual wisdom and no longer mingling with other races. We are also one of the tens of thousands of creatures in this world. How are we different from humans? We should be educated, enlightened, and enlightened. We shouldn't drink blood and eat fur and act like ignorant beasts. When a human race was ignorant, didn't they do this too? In the three realms, there should be a place for us, the demon race, to build a country, to be kings just like the story of the human emperor. We want to establish a demon country, honor the demon king, educate, build a system, respect the heavens and earth, and diversify the culture. Let the demons and humans be equal in this world. Let the spirits of tigers and rabbits be on the same level. But let those with sentience not eat each other. I have a poem that describes the grand occasion of today's gathering. When the new year arrives, I shall dye the blue skies with my demon blood. Soaring into the sky, the demonic aura penetrates the southern sky, and the entire court wears red turban armor. How dare you? A furious roar came from the sky as Dhritarashtra plucked the pipa in his hand. A wave of murderous music descended from the lower realm, causing the killing intent in all directions to shatter and the auspicious clouds to scatter. If such a great art of killing were to land in the midst of the demons, it would definitely cause a bloodbath and countless demons to shatter. However, that green snake king wasn't afraid at all. On the contrary, he blew his horn, and the sound of the horn shook the 9 heavens. Dhritarashtra's pipa danced even faster before he could barely resist. The 2 yellow ox kings and black ox king took down the war drums on their waists and started beating them. The vibrations of the drums were the result of the Monkey King secretly distorting space and emitting gravitational waves. The four heavenly kings had set up a formation, but they were all struck by the gravitational waves and were heavily injured, vomiting blood. Green Snake King won the battle and became even more arrogant. He approached the southern heavenly king and challenged. Those who support the great sage Monkey King and become the demon sovereign of the celestial heavens shall wear the red turban and armor with me. If the celestial heavens agrees with us, then we shall surrender and accept the betrayal. We shall go down to establish a country and educate all living beings. We shall obey the heavens and use the red turban as a flag to congratulate the great sage Monkey King. If he doesn't, then we shall wear my armor and cultivate our spear to kill our way up to the 9 heavens. Change the world. Kill. Green Snake King roared angrily as he wore the red turban and armor. When the demons in the sky heard that, they said in unison, "Let's listen to Green Snake King. If the celestial heavens doesn't agree with us, then we shall fight to the death and kill our way in from the southern heavenly gate. We shall kill our way to His Highness Lingshao treasure and ask the great heavenly venerable Jade Emperor." Immediately, the red turban spread out and the sound of weapons rang out. All the demons put on their armor. Their momentum caused the celestial heavens to be in chaos. The lower realm also heard about it. A day in the sky was a year in the lower realm. Now that 2 months had passed in the lower realm, the demons in the 4 major continents heard about it. Many demon kings summoned their demon soldiers and went up to the sky to participate in this grand event. The southern heavenly king looked down. The demon armies from all directions were endless and merged into the crowd of demons. Their momentum was even stronger. Other than the Monkey King's monkey fur army, there were 6 other demon kings. The most famous ones were the Bull Demon King of Gile Mountain, the Dragon Demon King of the West Sea, the Rock Demon King, the Lion Camel King, the Macaque King, and the Uluo King. They were known as the 6 demon kings. Other than the heavens equal demon army, they were the strongest force. There were countless demon kings on other small mountains. When they heard that the demons surrounded the celestial heavens to worship the demon emperor, they didn't want to miss even the most remote demon king. 40% of the world's demons came, which was even larger than the Monkey King's monkey fur army. However, Wukong's hair doppelganger was the first to arrive and had the greatest influence. Although it was previously unknown, it had now shocked the world. All the demons in the world came from remote and desolate places, so they weren't well informed. Other than a few great demons who knew that the great sage, Heaven's Equal, originally had no background, the other demon kings only knew that Wukong was an old demon who could shake the heavens and earth in the 3 realms. It was just that they were ill-informed and had never heard of him. As a result, countless demons came to seek refuge. Under Goku's command, not to mention the Monster Hair Army, even the small demons who sought refuge with him were the most powerful and had the most number of demons among the few monster kings. Among the demon armies, everyone was wearing armor and red scarves. The other 6 demon kings had mixed colors and were very inconspicuous. They were drowned in the support of the Monkey King. Bull Demon King saw that the main force wasn't there, so he gathered the other 5 demon kings and said, "That great emperor equal to heaven, Monkey King, I've never heard of his background or his achievements. He's just a nobody. How can he be compared to you brothers who are famous? I've heard news about him. He's a small demon from Aoi Nation. He became the disciple of the limitless cult master and protected the old lord on his journey to the west. How can such a cowardly person be the emperor of us demons?" The Macaque King sneered. "Who doesn't know about the great sage, Heaven's Equal's shocking actions? You, Bull Demon King, can compare to him? He became the disciple of an expert and went to the west to educate the barbarians. 100,000 mountains came to stop him, and the celestial army attacked, but he swallowed them all. The demons around Mount Zhongnan saw it with their own eyes. He swallowed the 80,000 mountains and the people on them. He didn't even spit out the bones. Rock Demon King, Lion Camel King, and Yu Yang King nodded and said, "How savage! How terrifying! We only found one person to eat every few days, but the amount he ate in one bite is more than what we ate in our entire lives. Such a savage person. He really deserves to be the Demon King." Macaque King continued, "Think about the thunder division of the heavenly heavens. How savage are they? All the demons in the world are helpless against them. Which one of you dares to provoke them? The 36 thunder generals, Thunder God, Lightning Mother, Mount Tai's Shur Gondang, the 36 heavenly generals of the battle division. How many powerful characters are there? They are the fierce generals of the heavenly heavens. They are famous. But didn't that Monkey King still use a stick to break their bones and make them into meatballs to eat?" The other demon kings nodded and said, "That makes sense. This demon is extraordinary. He deserves the name of Monkey King." Bull Demon King stood up in anger and laughed. "On my Gile Mountain, there are bald donkeys from the west who come to find trouble every year. Arhats and protectors have been defeated countless times. How can they be any weaker than him?" Yu Yang King persuaded. "Bull Demon King is also famous. His prestige dominates Mount Lingshan. He is indeed the overlord of us demons. But compared to that Monkey King, he is still a little weaker." Bull Demon King was unconvinced and said, "Tell me, what do I lack compared to him?" Yu Yang King said, "You defeated the soldiers of Mount Lingshan, but how many of their generals did you kill?" Bull Demon King said gloomily, "That Mount Lingshan has the 8 treasures merit pool. Even if their golden bodies are destroyed, they could be reborn with the golden lotus. How can I kill them?" Macaque King laughed and said, "But the Celestial Court also has the immortal gathering pool, and how many golden bodies did you destroy?" At this point, Bull Demon King did not dare to speak anymore. It was true that he failed to destroy the golden bodies of the Arhats and Bodhisattvas of Spirited Mountain. It was not that the Bull Demon King was not powerful, but he did not have a master like Chun'ong to help him plot and block the reinforcements of Spirited Mountain. "You two are the same race as that Monkey King. Speak up for him." Demon King Jiao said coldly, his vertical pupils staring at Macaque King and Yu Yang King. The two Demon Kings hurriedly denied. Although they did have such intentions, the Monkey King's influence was too great, and he had become the target of everyone. The 6 Demon Kings were secretly angry at him for being too arrogant. He actually dared to ask for the Demon King's help and climb over their heads. The 2 of them did not dare to anger the crowd and speak up for the Monkey King again. The few Demon Kings discussed, but none of them were willing to submit. Even Bull Demon King's suggestion to unify the flag to fight against the Heaven's equal demon army was not passed. In the end, Bull Demon King slammed the table and said angrily, "Damn it! That Monkey King is called the Monkey King. If he wants to be the Demon King, we cannot lose to him. Let's raise the flag first. I, Bull Demon King, am also the great sage who pacifies the heavens." Chapter 871. In the Heaven Court, the Celestials were debating about the appointment of the Monkey King as the Demon King. Not long later, Spirit Officer Yu came to reporting to the great Heavenly Lord, there are 6 Demon Kings outside the southern Heavenly Gate. All of them are ferocious and powerful. Each of them leads 100,000 demon army, and they call themselves the 6 Great Sages. They want to be on equal footing with the Monkey King and compete for the position of Demon King. Jade Emperor asked, "There's such a thing? Which Demon Kings are they?" The Bull Demon King of Gile Mountain calls himself the Great Sage of Heaven Leveling. The Dragon Demon King of East Sea calls himself the Great Sage of Ocean Toppling. The Rock Demon King calls himself the Great Sage of Chaotic Heavens. The Camel Lion King calls himself the Great Sage of Mountain Shifting. The Macaque King calls himself the Great Sage of Ventilation. And the Yuling King calls himself the Great Sage of Exorcism. They want to be together with the Monkey King as the 7 Great Sages. They will rule over the demons, and the strongest will be the Emperor, Spirit Officer Yu reported. The 4 Celestial Masters suddenly had an idea. They suddenly stepped out of the ranks and reporting to the Great Heavenly Venerable, since there are such heroes in the lower realm, Why don't we confer them the title of Demon Emperor? Just like the 10 kings of hell, they can manage the affairs of the demons and devils in the world. Marshall Ma even came out and added, the 10 halls Yen Luo can only be called kings. How can we let the demon emperors who manage the demons and demons surpass them? Why don't we make them the 7 great sages and enter the celestial records? They will be considered as the 7 demons that the heaven court recruited. We will use demons to control the demons and use them to suppress the other demon kings. Their ranks will be the first rank, and they will be considered as a straggler. The Jade Emperor smiled and turned to the Monkey King. Monkey King, stop chanting. The Monkey King then stopped the band-tightening incantation and stopped urging the Danyu monarch to come up to the Lingxiao Hall. If the heaven court's celestial officials and generals continued to push him, the Monkey King would have to ask the Danyu monarch to come and talk to them. Luckily, the Jade Emperor knew that he had a hostage and stopped him. The 6 demons from the lower world want to compete with you for the throne. This is the result of all the living beings in the 3 realms, the demons and devils, and the hearts of the people. What do you think, great sage Monkey King? The Monkey King said, those 6 country bumpkins probably don't even know how to read. How can they bear such a heavy responsibility? The revered position of the demon sovereign could only be attained by those who are virtuous, knowledgeable, wise, brave, and strong. I, old son, can say that I'm a man of virtue, wisdom, and courage. How can they be worthy of that? Once old son subdues them, he could be a general under my command. If that's the case, the Jade Emperor said, once you leave the southern heavenly gate and subdue the 6 demon kings, you could be the heaven's equal demon sovereign great emperor. You can command all the demons and devils in the world and be the revered demon sovereign. After the Jade Emperor made his promise, the entire Lingxiao hall fell silent. No one dared to say anything else. This was all within the Monkey King's calculations. The demons outside the southern heavenly gate were most likely summoned by him. Otherwise, how could the 4 continents be shocked by the demons' encirclement of the southern heavenly gate in just 2 months' time? Without the Monkey King's doppelgangers running around in the deep mountains and forests, how could those country bumpkins hear about it? There was no Weibo or Facebook in this world. The Jade Emperor only needed to send a short message, and the whole 3 realms would know about it. Communication depended on rumors and slander. Someone had to add fuel to the fire. Not only could the swindled demons build momentum, they could also recruit soldiers and buy horses. Even the future core subordinates had to bring their own rations. Otherwise, other than a group of trusted aides in the mountain of flowers and fruits, the Monkey King would be alone. How could he command all living beings, establish the demon court, and establish the demon kingdom? He needed these demons to fill the numbers. If he could subdue the 6 country bumpkins outside, the Monkey King, the demon sovereign, will be able to become the most powerful demon king in the world with the most territory. It would be equivalent to swindling a foundation and being conferred a title by the heavenly court. He would be a true demon sovereign. It would not be an empty title without a foundation and could be easily overthrown. Adding on Chanong behind him, the Monkey King would have a foundation and a backer. He would be able to sit firmly on the throne. As for whether he could dominate the 3 realms and threaten the authority of the Jade Emperor like Emperor Zui and the East Mountain Monarch, it would depend on what happened in the future. When Wukong came out of the southern heavenly gate, he looked at the loose Taoist robe he was wearing and felt somewhat embarrassed. He muttered, those demons are all boastful and want face. Although this coarse Taoist robe looks neat, it will make them look down on me. If I don't bring a good set of armor, how can I, old son, hold up my face? As soon as he thought about it, there was a response. A few rays of spiritual light flew from the sky and landed in Wukong's hands. Wukong was overjoyed when he saw it. Master, you're so thorough. The spiritual light that fell was one of the few that flew away when Wukong stole the diamond bracelet. It was a top-notch mighty armor. There was a phoenix feather crown on his head, a golden chainmail on his body, lotus root silk cloud-walking shoes on his feet, and a bright red cloak. It was the heaven and earth flaming cloud cloak. When worn, One would look mighty and domineering. The Monkey King walked to the southern heavenly gate. His small size made him look majestic, so he turned into an ape. He was 8 feet tall and had a dignified appearance. He stood under the southern heavenly gate with his cloak fluttering in the wind. Below him, there were countless demons wearing red scarves and armor. They occupied the center and had the strongest aura. Countless monster kings were leading the banners in front. With a glance, although most of them were monkey hairs, about 40% were new monster kings. There were a total of 108 monster kings. With the addition of the monkey hairs, there were 360 monster kings, which corresponded to the number of Zhou. The monster army under the banner was endless. Demonic aura shot up to the clouds, causing the Ling Shao Palace to be unstable. Beside the red army that covered the entire sky, there were a few other demon armies of different colors. However, they only took up 30% of the army. Their flags were messy and looked even more dismal compared to the heavens' equal demon army. Upon closer inspection, one could see that there were 6 demon armies that occupied the majority of the army. Among the Red Scarf Monster Army, not many true monsters had seen the Monkey King before. When they saw the majestic Monkey King coming out from the southern heavenly gate, they were a little worried. Luckily, they had the help of the monkey hair clone. Green Snake Monster King raised his arm and shouted, "Greetings, heaven's equal Monster King." Instantly, countless monsters bowed their heads and shouted loudly outside the southern heavenly gate, "Greetings, heaven's equal Monster King." Then, outside the southern heavenly gate, countless monster armies, including the 6 monster kings, were shocked by the earth-shattering aura. They could not help but shout, "Greetings, heaven's equal Monster King." Immediately, the subordinate demon kings of the 6 demon kings secretly changed their banners and joined the heavens' equal demon army. The expressions of the 6 demon kings changed at the same time. They felt a sound wave sweep through the 3 realms, shaking their minds. Demon King Jiao said, "Brothers, if this goes on, we will be alone." The Bull Demon King looked at the 2 young bull demons beside him and looked at the great sage, heaven's equal, with a look of longing. He wanted nothing more than to be under the command of the great emperor, heaven's equal, and become a disciple of the heaven's equal. He slapped the 2 of them away and said angrily, "Even the demon soldiers of my clan are so cowardly. My brothers, we can't watch Sun Wukong be so arrogant. We must destroy his prestige so that we can compete with him for the position of Demon Emperor. Greetings, heaven's equal Monster King." The sound wave traveled to the Lingshao Palace of the Golden Arches. The immortals were shocked, and the Jade Emperor's expression changed. Wukong lifted the golden cudgel and pointed at the 6 demon kings. "Are you the 6 demon kings who want to be called great sages with me and compete for the title of Demon Emperor?" The millions of heaven's equal demon army turned their heads and stared at the 6 demon kings. As the saying goes, if you are condemned by 1,000 people, you will die without a cause. The mixed-color monster army under the 6 monster kings was fine and didn't have anything else in their eyes. However, 60% of the true demons under the heavens' equal monster army had been subdued by the Monkey King. Now that they heard that someone wanted to compete with them for the position of Monster King, their eyes were filled with killing intent. Under the murderous gazes of the millions of monster army, even the 6 monster kings couldn't help but feel worried. It was the Bull Demon King who stood out and said, "Monkey King, you fought against East Peak and have indeed raised the prestige of us demons. But now that you are with the heavenly court and claim the title of Monster King, I, the Bull Demon King, am the first to be dissatisfied. How can the title of Monster King be conferred by that old Jade Emperor of the heavenly court? It should be elected by all the demons in the world. Now that you have submitted to the heavenly court and are no longer one of us demons, you are not fit to be the supreme Monster King. Let me take it." The Monkey King smiled. "Is your position of Monster King also elected by the demons under you? How can there be a reason to choose an emperor in this world? Among the demons, the strong rule. Why would I need you to respect me as the Monster King? Then I will act on my own and divide the power? Naturally, I will beat you until you are convinced." Among the demons, I will be the king, and I will sweep through the world and sweep away all heroes. My heart will be the heart of all demons, and my Tao will be the Tao of all demons. Bull Demon King, I have heard that you have occupied Gile Mountain and rejected the Buddhas of Mount Spirited. But what capabilities do you have to be on par with me, the Monkey King? I would like to learn from you. The Monkey King laughed. Who else wants to compete with me for the position of Monster King? Come on at once. Chapter 872. How dare you? How arrogant! Demon King Jiao, Demon King Rock, and the rest yelled. They raised their weapons. One wielded an iron rod, had horns on his head, and was clad in bronze armor. He was the Bull Demon King who called himself the Great Sage who pacifies the heavens. Another wielded a trident and was covered in scales and armor. He was Demon King Jiao, the king of the four seas and the bane of the dragon palace. The last one wielded a golden drum with phoenix wings. His brows were high, and his forehead was sunken. He was the great sage of chaotic heavens, Rock Demon King. These three were the most skilled in martial arts among the 6 demon kings. The other 3 demon kings were inferior to them. Moreover, Demon King Jiao and Demon King Yuan were from the same clan as the Monkey King. This made the other brothers wary. Therefore, they only stood at the side and made a show of strength. Not only did the other demon kings not trust them, but they also had the intention of joining the Monkey King's side when they saw his strength. The Monkey King was only lazy. How could the 6 demon kings arouse his fighting spirit? If that's all you have, don't show it off. Come into my palm. Only when you jump out of my palm will you be worthy to fight me. If you can't, then die. I could turn the sky upside down. If you can't escape, you're dead. With that, the Monkey King stretched out a furry claw and opened it. Infinite dimensions twisted on the center of the claw. With this claw, there seemed to be infinite mass between the 5 fingers, sucking the space tens of thousands of miles outside the southern heavenly gate. The Bull Demon King, the other demon kings, and the demon soldiers behind them felt that the Monkey King's hand suddenly expanded to the size of a mountain, covering the sky and the sun. It seemed to cover the sky of the heavenly courts. In the eyes of the 4 heavenly kings, the heavens equaled demon army and the heavenly courts generals outside the southern heavenly gate. The Bull Demon King, the other demon kings, and their subordinates seemed to be sucked into the Monkey King's palm. However, this mystique that could take the sun and the moon and shrink 1,000 mountains was actually very simple. It was just taking the space where the 6 demon kings were, as well as the infinite void, into his hand. What kind of mystic art is this monkey using? The Rock Demon King shouted. 5th brother, 6th brother, although you are the same race as that monkey, he may not remember this little bit of friendship. If we continue to hold back, we will all die. You are from the same clan as him. So can you tell what kind of divine ability this is? What kind of method is this? Grabbing the sun and moon, shrinking 1,000 mountains, distinguishing between right and wrong, manipulating the universe. The Macaque King panicked. Didn't this guy say that he jumped out from a rock? Why are you showing off your long-armed ape monkey skills? King Yushang also said in fear. I thought it was a spiritual stone monkey. How would I know that this guy has such divine art transformations? We've been tricked. We've been cheated. The Macaque King cried out. I initially thought that it was a spiritual stone monkey. Who would have thought that this fellow would lie to us? I heard that in the land of the Chu Kingdom of the Nanjiang continent, there is a long-armed ape monkey. He learned the sword from a mystic fairy and is most proficient in sword techniques. However, I heard that he is a white ape and people call him Mr. Ape. Who cares if he's a male ape or a female ape? I can travel 90,000 miles with a flap of my wings, and my speed is the fastest in the 3 realms. Every year, it doesn't take many hours to travel from the North Underworld outside the North Continent to the South Underworld. No matter how big his body is, can he be bigger than the distance between the North Underworld and the South Underworld and the size of the 4 continents? Brothers, wait for me. I'll fly out of his palm and save all of you from the outside. The Rock Demon King shouted. The Monkey King had a pair of hairy hands and many monkey hairs on his palms. Even though half of them had fallen off and transformed into immortals and demons, There were still monkey hairs on his palms that were like mountains. The Monkey King clenched his fists and smiled. I can't let you fly out. The boundless void in the palm was curved and sealed, forming a closed space-time. However, it was empty like a primordial world. The Monkey King puffed up his cheeks and mixed the essence chi in his mouth. Then he circulated his aura, and yin and yang opened up. The yin and yang split apart, and all kinds of connate essence chi became postnatal. 3,000 types of essence chi were separated. Among them, the great yang, great yin, and lesser yin descended. Then, the great yin and great yang condensed into stars. The Monkey King closed his mouth as if he was holding the sun and moon, while the lesser yin and lesser yang gave birth to all things. Halfway through the evolution of the Yuan Qi world in his mouth, Wukong stretched his clenched fist to his mouth and blew a breath of air into it. The Rock Demon King flapped his wings hundreds of times. He was so fast that he couldn't even open his eyes. He felt a huge star that was emitting endless true fire of the sun in front of him. Then, a huge black vortex that seemed to occupy half of the world spat out a violent essence chi storm. Countless stars were blown out by the wind, and mountains and rivers crashed into him. He hurriedly stopped his wings. It was wind, rain, thunder, and lightning seemed to come out of it. The sun, moon, and stars seemed to come out of it. Why did the sun fly out from here? The Rock Demon King landed in a panic, dodging the endless storm spewed out by the huge vortex. He thought in fear, did I fly too far in my panic? I've never flown so desperately before. Could I have flown past the 4 poles and reached the end of the world? That black hole, could it be the legendary eye of the sea where the sun and moon rest and swallow and spit out the universe? The ultimate? That monkey's big talk gave me a fright. In my panic, I flew so far away. The ultimate is far north of the northern underworld, beyond the 4 poles. According to the legends, the sun and moon all returned to it. After the Long Bow Kingdom people took away the divine turtles, the celestial mountains beyond the seas also fell into the ultimate. It's the end of the 4 continents, the end of the universe. The Rock Demon King sighed and said, I didn't expect to fly here, but it's very dangerous here. If I fall into the ultimate, even I won't be able to escape. I'd better go back and find that shameless monkey and save the other demon kings. The Rock Demon King flew all the way back. After he flew past a huge mountain that could hold up the sky, he saw a frozen and bitter black sea. The Rock Demon King turned back and looked at the huge pillar that seemed to hold up the entire Nanjan section continent, and said, Is this the 4 poles that hold up the sky? It's indeed extraordinary and magnificent. Outside, the Monkey King clenched his fist and said with a smile, What is that country bumpkin demon talking to my thumb? The Monkey King clenched his fist so that he wouldn't crush the 6 demon kings inside. His thumb was pinched in his palm, so it could be seen by the Rock Demon King. If the Rock Demon King flew in another direction, he would discover that the other 3 poles didn't exist. The Rock Demon King continued to fly back. After flying millions of miles of Black Sea, he saw the border of the land in the distance. But the place was very unfamiliar. The Rock Demon King lost his direction and could only fly into the sky, hoping to fly to the southern heavenly gate and return to the battlefield. But after flapping his wings dozens of times, he still couldn't see the familiar 33 heavens. In the end, the Monkey King lost his patience. With a thought, a monkey hair fell from his palm and transformed into his true form to stop the Rock Demon King. The Rock Demon King saw a monkey that was as big as a mountain suddenly appear not far away. The monkey also clenched its claws and looked at him with a grin. The Rock Demon King laughed and said, Great, great sage, heaven's equal. You want to control us brothers in your hands after making a heavenly law embodiment. I was careless and fell into your trap. But do you think you can trap me with my supernatural power? Quickly release my brothers. The Rock Demon King shouted. Otherwise, I'll teach you a lesson. Bird Demon King, what are you doing? The Monkey King chuckled and said, Your brothers are still waiting for you. Before the Rock Demon King could argue, The Monkey King struck with his rod. He couldn't block it or escape. The Rock Demon King raised a phoenix wing gilded drum in his hand. Just as he stabbed the rod, he felt a boundless force coming at him. He couldn't help but be knocked down to the lower realm. Chapter 873. Monkey King could see the fear and anger of the 6 demon kings clearly. He thought to himself, those 6 demon kings are indeed extraordinary. They are the top figures among the demons. Among the millions of heaven's equal demon army that I swindled, there are no such figures. Those demon kings that are on the same level as them are formed from my hair. My teacher taught me to set up such a deceiving plan so that I can create a demon army out of nothing. This will strengthen my foundation as a demon emperor and make me worthy of my name. I, old son, am in need of such loyal subordinates. Otherwise, it would be too weak for me to take on the heaven-equal Fey Empire alone. Therefore, I definitely cannot let these 6 great fiendish demons go. That Macaque King and Yushin King are still all right. They are of the same race and are easier to talk to. Now that they have wavered, it is just that they have not seen my prowess with their own eyes. It will not be difficult to recruit them. That Lion Camel King looks like a man, but he is actually quite cunning and weak. If Macaque King and Yushin King come to an agreement secretly, they can be recruited. Only the other 3 demon kings, Bull Demon King Aog, Dragon Demon King is sinister, and Rock Demon King is arrogant. They are all difficult to subdue. Let's not talk about Bull Demon King. He is a stubborn bull. Once he is stubborn, he will never submit. However, this bull is arrogant. To subdue him, it will not be easy. I have to press down his horns and pull his nose ring. Dragon Demon King is a venomous dragon. This demon is very shrewd. Under pressure, it is not difficult to make him submit on the surface. However, he has many sinister tricks hidden in his heart. If you want to use him, you have to break his poisonous fangs and tighten the ropes. The last one is Rock Demon King. He is very arrogant. If I want to subdue him, I will have to use some tricks. The great sage, Heaven's Equal, suddenly laughed and said, regardless of which of the 6 demon kings it is, if you want them to submit to me, the great emperor, Heaven's Equal, you'll have to use your world-shaking magical powers to subdue them. This world in the palm will let them know my magical powers. Later, I will personally go down and fight them with sabers and rods. I will make them admire my martial arts. Finally, I will make them admire my spirit. In the world in the palm, the Bull Demon King and his brothers had just dug the Rock Demon King out of the ground when the Monkey King struck him 10 miles deep into the ground, breaking through the earth fetal membrane evolved from the black yellow and immersing him in the lava. The Rock Demon King's face was hit by the earth-lung poisonous fire, and his hair was burnt to a crisp. His face was covered in soot, and his soul seemed to have left his body. His body was covered in mottled mud and melted basalt. This isn't the Nanjan section state. This isn't the Nanjan section state. Rock Demon King stammered. Sure, Tuaw King shouted. Third brother, are you crazy? Of course, this isn't the Nanjan section state. This is the palm of that monkey. You've been flying out for a long time, but have you seen that monkey's fingers? Have you flown out of this confinement? The Bull Demon King looked at the deep pit in the ground and muttered. The black yellow chi came from the north. The black yellow chi turned into the sky, and the yellow chi turned into the earth. We saw it with our own eyes. This land is 5 miles thick, far lower than the land of the 3 realms. I think we are no longer in the 3 realms. But I don't believe that monkey can create a world in the palm. Most likely, we were tricked into the treasure. That monkey's master has an extraordinary background. He has 2 or 3 powerful treasures in his hands. It's only natural that he can contain a small world. The Rock Demon King calmed down after hearing the Bull Demon King's words. That's possible. I heard that Guanyin Sua Jade Bottle has the ability to store things. Dong Yu has the 5 True Mountain Diagram, an Earth God's treasure that contains a world within it. I flew for about 40 million miles and saw a mountain so tall that I couldn't see it. I thought it was one of the 4 pillars. But what is the ultimate world? The Macaque King said, brothers, it's not important what the monkey used to capture us. The important thing is, how are we going to get out of here? You can get out if you beat me. The 6 demon kings looked back in shock and saw a 3-foot-tall macaque sitting on a rock beside them with a smile. It was the Monkey King's true form. Who are you? The Lion Camel King was puzzled. Before he could see clearly, the Scale Dragon King said with a smile, "So this is what the Monkey King looks like. The one outside must be you in disguise." The Bull Demon King laughed. "I thought your true form was as big as a mountain, majestic and imposing. Who would have thought that you're just a 3-inch nail? This really disappoints me. With this appearance, how can you be the supreme, fiendish demon sovereign? You should just obediently give your position to me. Old cow, I hope my brothers won't fight with me." Wukong smiled faintly and said, "You'll need to have the ability to do so." He swept a glance, his gaze sweeping across, making one shudder. Wukong glanced around and said with a smile, "Bull Demon King, why do you need to ask your brother to give way? All of you are in my palms. I can kill all 6 of you with a flip of my hand. This is a good opportunity to die. Since you guys are sworn brothers, why do you need to fight? Come at me together. Let me, old son, beat all of you to death so that all of you can die together in the same year, month, and day to fulfill our brotherhood." Wukong let out a loud shout, and the aura of his 3-foot-tall monkey body suddenly skyrocketed, becoming as tall as 10,000 zhong. He stretched out his hand and ruthlessly pressed towards the Ox Demon King. The other 5 monster kings only froze for a moment before they swarmed forward and besieged Wukong. In the end, they were a moment behind. When Wukong stretched out his hand, his 5 fingers were like mountains. They pressed down fiercely and hit the top of the Ox Demon King's horn, causing it to flip over. Even the Ox Demon King's horn was shattered with one slap. The other demon kings were about to attack when they saw a blur in front of them. It was as if the monkey in front of them was ever-changing and omnipresent. With another tremble, a pair of small fists landed on their chests. A huge shockwave penetrated through their bodies. It was different from all other demonic powers. The demonic aura in their bodies was like yuan qi. It was in the form of a gaseous substance. However, this force was a force that had been tempered hundreds and thousands of times. It didn't contain any attribute of yuan qi. It was the purest and most condensed form of force. It was gravitational wave. It was a force field that surpassed the manifestation of yuan qi and came from outside the universe. It easily shattered the demonic aura in the bodies of the 5 demon kings. With just a slight change, their bodies were almost torn apart. They flew out like ragdolls and landed on the ground. The Monkey King's attack was successful. He raised his hand and summoned the golden cudgel. He became one with the cudgel and sent the Bull Demon King flying. "Monkey King, you are too much." Chapter 874. In the next moment, a golden rod came smashing down. It was the Monkey King's golden cudgel. It moved like a dragon and shook off the 5 weapons that the Monster Kings used. The golden gilded phoenix wings boring rod shook violently. The ocean wrecking duo was pushed away. King Yu's mountain shifting lance flew out of his hands, and the golden hook and sickle crutch flew back. The 5 monster kings couldn't fight back at all. Wukong, on the other hand, split into 5 and knocked them down with a few sticks. Originally, the hare doppelgangers were weaker than the 5 monster kings in terms of pure strength. However, the quantum spiritual aura amorphous cloud was too powerful. It allowed the Monkey King's martial arts wisdom and battle experience to be absorbed by the hare doppelgangers. The speed of the primordial spirit could also be stacked. Therefore, the battle awareness of these 5 demon kings was too poor in comparison. Even their reaction speed was slower than Wukong had expected. Originally, Wukong thought that these demon kings had the same battle awareness as the Bull Demon King, but he did not expect that the Bull Demon King was the strongest among these demon kings. He was much stronger than the others. With this performance, these 5 demon kings could not fight back in the hands of Wukong's doppelganger. If I didn't want to have a few real monsters under me, I might not even be interested in you pieces of trash. The Monkey King said in disdain. The Bull Demon King saw that his brothers were taken down without being able to fight back. He was also beaten up by the Monkey King. In his anger, his eyes turned red. He shook his head and tail and turned back to his original form. He used the heavenly law's embodiment of earth. A white bull appeared. Its head was like a mountain, its eyes were bright, its horns were like two iron towers, and its teeth were like sharp blades. From head to tail, it was thousands of feet long. From its hooves to its back, it was 800 feet tall. In the heaven and earth in the palm of the Monkey King, it raised its hooves to block the horns, wanting to fight to the death. The Monkey King restrained the 5 monster kings and shouted at the Bull Demon King, "Bull Demon King, you are in my palm. How dare you make a scene?" Bull Demon King bellowed, "Monkey King, don't you dare try to trick me with your treasures. You tricked us, brothers, into a magical treasure and humiliated us in every possible way. I refuse to accept this. I refuse to accept this. Just now, I saw you turn into 5, and I don't know what kind of divine ability you used to capture my 5 brothers. If you have the ability, let's fight one-on-one." Bull Demon King. The Monkey King laughed. "Don't boast anymore. Even if the 6 of you come at me together, you can't even beat my hair clone. I, old son, can just pluck out a hair and hang you up and beat you up. I'm not afraid to tell you that what's hitting you now is just a hair from my claw. My real body is still outside, clenching my fist. You're all in my hands. You're fighting like ants fighting each other. You're overestimating yourself and challenging me. What fair fight? What a joke. Nonsense." The Bull Demon King said angrily, "You must have used the power of your magical weapon to ambush us. I, old son, can squash you to death with just a finger. Why would I need the power of a magical weapon to do that?" The Monkey King's hair clone laughed and turned back into his hair. Then he turned into a demon binding chain and tied the 5 monster kings up. The world suddenly split apart. The sky cracked, and the world turned into black and yellow. The Bull Demon King only saw the sky split into 4 pieces, and each piece was like a world of its own. The entire world was destroyed in front of his eyes. The 4 pieces of sky rose up high, and the yellow and yellow disappeared, revealing their true appearance. The giant trees on them were like mountains, and from a macro perspective, they looked like 4 fingers. And it was a hairy finger. The Monkey King smiled and looked at the white bull in his palm, which was so small that it was hard to notice. Then his other index finger slowly descended. The Bull Demon King saw an unimaginably huge mountain descending from the sky. Compared to his original body that was 10,000 feet long and 8,000 feet tall, even the tiny lines on his finger were like ancient mountains. With his finger pressing down, the Bull Demon King could not believe it. He tried his best to resist the sky, but it was like a mantis trying to stop a chariot. He only made his finger stop for an almost imperceptible moment, and this little resistance was obliterated with a bang. The Bull Demon King's vision turned pitch black. When he regained consciousness, he heard a majestic voice. "The great sage Monkey King from the lower realm has protected the Taishang Lao Jun from the west. His meritorious deeds are great, and he subdued the demons. He felt that there was no one to enlighten them, and they gathered together to become demons. They created chaos in the 3 realms, and they committed evil. I pity them for their ignorance and enlighten them. Hence, he came to me and asked me to enlighten them. I believe that he is wise and righteous, and hence, I granted him this mission. Proclaim, the great sage, heaven's equal, Sun Wukong, is now the great demon emperor, heaven's equal. He will command all living beings in the world and enlighten the demons of the 3 realms. He will be appointed as the great sage, heaven's equal. He will temporarily be appointed as the great sage, heaven's equal. Yes, great heavenly lord." Monkey King, the Bull Demon King roared. "You submitted to the Jade Emperor and bowed to the heavenly court. You are not fit to be the Demon King. You are not fit to be a demon. The Demon Emperor is the emperor who leads the demons, not the lackeys of the heavenly court. I once respected you as a hero, but now I've been blind. I didn't see that you're a seductive person. You're the Demon Emperor of the Jade Emperor, the Demon Emperor of the heavenly court, not our supreme Demon Lord. Even if I have to die, I will never acknowledge you as the Demon King." The Monkey King was wearing an emperor's robe and crown. He stood above the heavenly court, and all the deities and demons around him congratulated him. "Greetings, heaven-equal Demon King." The congratulatory voices were like tsunamis, resounding across the world. Above the heavenly court, all the officials and heavenly generals who were defeated by the Monkey King, the martial virtue Star-Lord, the 4 heavenly masters, the 36 thunder generals, the god of thunder and the goddess of lightning, and the great emperor of the Dongyu, who had just broken free from the Vajra bracelet, couldn't help but congratulate him. "Greetings, heaven-equal Demon King." As for the heaven-equal demon army, the Macaque King and the Yuliao King, just as the Monkey King had expected, they only struggled for a while before surrendering to the Monkey King. The Lion Camel King considered it for a little longer, but under the persuasion of the 2 Monkey Kings, he also submitted to the Monkey King. Now, the only ones who were still resisting were the Rock Demon King and the Bull Demon King. The Dragon Demon King was purely the Monkey King, and the Monkey King didn't trust him, but it wasn't that he couldn't recruit him. Now, the 10 million demon army, under the leadership of the 3 Demon Kings, were also paying their respects to the Demon King. In order to create a ruckus, the Monkey King didn't keep his hair clones. It seemed like having dozens of powerful Demon Kings under his command was quite impressive. The Monkey King led the demon army out of the cloudy palace of the Golden Arches. Tai Bai Jinxing said, "The great emperor's residence is ready. The goddess and strongman are cleaning and tidying it up. Does the great emperor want to take a look?" Chapter 875. The Monkey King exited the southern heavenly gate and headed straight for Mount Zhongnan. He brought tens of millions of troops with him. The demonic aura that soared into the sky shook the surroundings. The cultivators in the mortal world thought that a calamity was coming and tens of millions of demon soldiers were coming for them. There were 2 large sects that had connections in the heavenly court. They knew that a demon king called the Monkey King had gathered tens of millions of demon soldiers and defeated the great emperor of Dongyu. The Jade Emperor pardoned him as the Demon King. They were still trembling in fear that the Demon King would start a riot and kill everyone within a radius of tens of millions of miles. Therefore, after the Monkey King landed with the demon army, the chirping of insects and birds stopped. The Monkey King took a few glances and took in all the cultivators hiding in their cave abodes within a radius of 1,000 miles. The strongest cultivators were only itinerant immortals. They were not even comparable to the stronger demon kings. They were nothing in the eyes of the Monkey King. The truly capable cultivators were either celestials in heaven or true immortals like Lu Chunyang and old immortal Nanhua, who were pardoned by the heavenly court. This demon army is huge and messy. Most of them have not changed their original forms and still have a trace of the stench of beasts. The crowing of chickens and the barking of dogs are extremely chaotic. How would I dare to bring them to disturb the 2 saints, Master and Old Lord? My Mount Huagua is not big enough to accommodate so many demons. Moreover, most of these demons are very stupid and can't abstain from eating. If they make Mount Huagua full of sh*t and urine, wouldn't it ruin the blessed land? Master wants me to trick so many demons back. He must have a plan for me. I'll take in these demons first before asking Master. Wu Yukong made up his mind and shouted at his subordinates, the Monster Kings and Little Monsters. I haven't established a foundation yet, and you guys haven't shed your wild nature yet, so you don't have any rules. I borrowed a magic treasure from my master. The space inside is vast, and it's not inferior to any of the 4 major continents. You guys can go inside for the time being and follow a few Monster Kings to train the monster army. Set up rules and learn etiquette. I'll lead all of you to attack the various demon kingdoms and occupy a place in the 3 dimensions. After that, he passed down all kinds of military tactics and rules. Other than the Monkey King and the Lion Camel King, the few demon kings who were leading the army were all his hair clones. They could sense the primordial spirit of the Monkey King, and they would naturally follow the methods that the Monkey King taught them to train and clean up the demon army. With that, the Monkey King released the Golden Ship of Fate and took in the 10 million demon army. The Golden Ship of Fate had not been completed, But the Monkey King could see that the space inside was already starting to take shape. It was rich in resources and the size of the Dong Shang divine continent. A mere 10 million demons would not take up much space inside. The remaining space was barren. After the heavens' equal demon army was completely swallowed by the golden ship of fate, the Monkey King then kept his treasures. A cloud formed under his feet, and the ethereal cloud of quantum spiritual light appeared outside the temple at the foot of Mount Zhongnan. It had been half a year since he, the mountain god of the 100,000 mountains, swallowed 80,000 mountains in one go. When the Monkey King saw him and the green bull stealing the treasures, it was the time of summer when plants were flourishing and all living things were growing. Now, the north wind was blowing and the white grass was covered in frost. It had been 3 days since the first snowfall, but the Monkey King had wasted half a day in the heaven realm. Half a year had passed in the mortal world. The Monkey King pushed open the door of the temple and saw Ishi sweeping the floor. When he saw the Monkey King, he smiled and asked, "Junior brother Monkey King, why were you gone for so long?" The Monkey King said, "I was held up in the heaven realm and was half a day late. I didn't expect that half a year had passed in the mortal world, and I missed Master's chess match. I wonder who won. If my master was careless and lost 1 or 2 eyes, I'll be smart and not make Master angry." The chess match lasted for 3 months. Your master lost by a bit, and when he retired, he lost half eye. Ishi smiled and said, 3 days ago, my grandmaster had just finished reciting the Tao Te Ching mantra. There were over 5,000 words in total, and I recorded it down. After that, enlightened Master Chun suggested that my grandmaster give me a Taoist title. Junior brother Monkey King, you can call me Wenshi from now on. Then I pay my respects to senior brother Wenshi. The Monkey King bowed. The Monkey King exchanged a few words with Ishi and was in a hurry to report back to Chenong. Then, he took his leave and went straight to the thatched cottage where Chenong was staying. On the way, he passed by the cowshed and saw the green bull grazing on grass. The Monkey King hurriedly removed the Vajra bracelet from his hand and smiled. "Brother Cow, you're so disloyal. You left me behind and made things difficult for me. I'm afraid I'll be scolded by Master for taking so long to come back." The green bull said, "You really have guts. After I came back, I heard that you acted violently on several occasions. Even though I'm a lawless and daring person, I was still scared out of my wits. Hurry up and return the Vajra bracelet to me. Master has instructed me not to hang out with a mischievous monkey like you. If I get into trouble, even he won't be able to protect me." "Why do you say that, big brother?" Goku giggled and threw the Vajra bracelet onto the black ox's head. The bracelet was hanging on its horn. He giggled and said, "I'm an honest monkey. I've never encouraged you to do anything disgraceful." The thatched cottage where Chenong was staying was just around the cowshed. However, the Monkey King was a little hesitant when he arrived at the door. He hesitated and didn't dare to knock on the door. When he first became Chun Ang's disciple, he had never thought about how powerful his master was. At that time, Chunong had pretended to be an itinerant immortal. The Monkey King only accepted him because he had pointed out the path to immortality. After that, Chunong brought him to meet the Elder Supreme Lord and the 3 sages. Only then did he realize that his master's wisdom was as deep as the ocean. However, the Monkey King felt that he was no more than a person like a heaven immortal. Later on, he found out that the heaven immortal had only looked down on his master. After hearing that Chunong was the master of the heavenly sect, he had learned a lot of abilities. However, Chunong had strictly ordered him to learn those boring things. Learning mathematics and physics was so boring. There was no reason for magical powers to be powerful. The Monkey King was also a little puzzled and resentful. It was not until he mastered the quantum primordial spirit and cultivated the quantum aura unstable cloud. He fought several times in the 3 realms and defeated countless immortals and demons. He fought against several powerful enemies and used all the abilities taught by his master. He was invincible. Only then did he realize that Chun Ang's abilities were thousands of times more powerful than he had imagined. No matter how hard he tried, he couldn't figure out his master's background. The Monkey King stood at the door of Chunang's house and thought for a moment. Then, he pushed the door open and entered. He saw a young Taoist wearing a feathered robe and a star crown. He was deducing the hexagram. The Monkey King had learned from the Book of Changes and quoted from the ancient Book of Changes, "The land of Jiao is born, and the land of Yin will wither for 1,000 years." 100 years old, 49 stalks, enough to bear the weight of heaven and earth. At 500 years old, the shape gradually dried up. At 700 years old, there were no branches and leaves. At 900 years old, the color was purple like iron. At 1,000 years old, there was purple air above, spiritual dragons and divine turtles crouching below. As for the stalk in Chunang's hand, it looked like purple iron and floated with a purple aura. It meandered like a spirit dragon and was as sluggish as a divine turtle. It was a 1,000-year stalk. Chunang had 300 stalks in his hand, all produced by a stalk. Chapter 876. Monkey King hurriedly kowtowed and said, "Master, are you chasing me out?" "Why do you say that?" Chunang smiled and said, "You are already the supreme demon emperor. Who else in this world can make you worship? Get up quickly. It's not that I want to chase you out, but you have already grown and don't need my guidance anymore. The path of the demon emperor can only be walked by yourself, and I can't help you. You learn from a master to seek the fruit of immortality. Now that you are the supreme demon emperor of the heavenly court, no one in the 3 realms can surpass you, except for Grand Empyrean Jade Emperor. This is the highest fruit of immortality, so why are you still not satisfied?" "Master," Monkey King cried, "I don't care about the position of the supreme demon emperor. Ever since I became your disciple, I gradually understood the principles of the evolution of man and nature. I know that this world is a huge cage. Outside of this world, there is another unimaginable world. If I can't transcend, even if I can live forever, I will just be a ghost guarding a corpse. What Master has taught me is to seek the truth of the Tao, to constantly seek knowledge, to constantly search, and there will be a day when Disciple will also jump out of this narrow 3 realms and enter another world. Now, Disciple hasn't even learned a single bit of Master's ability, so why is Master chasing Disciple out?" Sigh. Chunang let out a long sigh and said, "Monkey King, do you know why the Jade Emperor allowed you to be the Demon Emperor? I thought it was because Master wanted to trap him." Monkey King said. Chunang said with a smile, "If he's not willing in his heart, how can I make him fall into the trap? That's because with your dermic powers, you've already attained the position of the Demon Emperor. Even if he doesn't accept you, you can go back and raise the flag of rebellion, gather the demons, and fight against the Celestial Court. You can also gradually conquer the hearts of the demons and make them submit to you, making them respect you as the Demon Emperor. By then, you will be the rightful Demon Emperor. You will be supported by thousands of demons. What does it matter if the Jade Emperor doesn't acknowledge you? You'll be able to stand on equal footing with him, and you'll have some hope in the future. If you succeed in your rebellion, the heavens and earth will take their turn. Next year, it'll be your family's turn. Now that he has conferred you the title of Demon Emperor, not only will you be inferior to him, but he can also take you into the system of the heavenly courts and let you inherit the heavenly court's famous artifact and give it to others. What's more, the fiendish demons in this world are not willing to accept the teachings of the heavenly courts. Now that you've been pardoned by the heavenly courts, you've lost the support of many demon kings. If you're not a fiendish demon, how can you be the king of the fiendish demons? Matching the ability user to his position is the only way to rule. The Jade Emperor was also proficient in it. I see. In that case, Master, is there a deeper meaning to asking me to seek help from the officials? Monkey King asked. Chunang didn't answer, he just asked, "You can get the support of all the demons in the world and become the Demon Emperor, but I asked you to join the celestial heavens, making it hard for all the demons in the world to be convinced by you, making it difficult for you to convince all the demons in the world. Do you have any resentment?" Wukong asked. "Master, that great heavenly venerate Jade Emperor clearly has a better choice, so why did he let me become the Demon Emperor? You once said that the heavenly courts cannot be offended, and the Jade Emperor is even more so. That's because the celestial heavens has countless powerful mystical beings. Mere fiendish demons that have not entered the eyes of the celestial heavens are illegal immortals. They're just arrogant for a moment, and the celestial heavens don't have the time to deal with them. And that Jinwu, demon-rinsing Great Emperor, I heard that he was conferred the title of demon-rinsing Heavenly Venerable because he wiped out all the demons in the Dong Shang Divine Continent. Although I dealt with the Dong Yu Great Emperor, I might not be able to make the Jade Emperor bow his head, right? There are so many powerful beings in the celestial heavens. Wouldn't it be easier for him to order those powerful, mystical beings to deal with me? Do you think he didn't think of that? Chenong smiled. When you were making a ruckus at the southern heavenly gate, Samantabhadra, Manjushri, and Mahasthemaprapta came from the western spiritual mountain. They encountered the turbulence of the galactic true water on Mount Zhongnan and were swept into a space-time storm by the galactic river's galactic array. They lost their way. According to my calculations, they're already 50 years in the future. They've missed this period of time. That Jinwu, demon-rinsing Great Emperor, encountered the canopy marshal who was washed away by the galactic true water. He had no choice but to trouble the canopy marshal to save him from the river of time and space, which wasted a lot of time. Erlang, perfected Lord Xiansheng of the Guanjiang estuary, came to visit Lu Guan to thank Lao Jun and me for our guidance in the past. He also watched us play chess from the side. He was engrossed for 2 months and just left the day before yesterday. He even wrote down the Book of Tao with Yi Shi. There was also Guanyin Bodhisattva of the South Sea. It was said that she accidentally dropped the pristine jade bottle in the sea. The Dragon Lady of Wealth had to search for it for a long time before she finally found it. If not for Master, why would the Jade Emperor allow me to become the Demon Emperor? Monkey King bowed. Everything that I have today is because of Master. How would I dare to resent him? How would I resent him? Do you know what you've lost? Chenong sighed. Your title is the Heavens Equal Demon Emperor, the Heavens Equal. You lead all the demons in the world. How can there be demons and demons in this world? There are only apes, monkeys, lions, tigers, dragons, rocks, oxen, goats, deer, and so on. These races have different personalities. They even feed on each other and kill each other. Would a wolf demon think that a rabbit demon is of the same race? There were no demons in this world. There were only demons when there were humans. If there were no humans, there would only be the wolf race, the tiger race, the rabbit race, and the ox race. There would not be the demon race. All the races in this world were forced to a dead end by humans. The human race was powerful, so other than humans, all the other races were demons. It was humans who thought that all the other intelligent races in the world were demons. That was why the demons gradually recognized themselves and created the demon race. There were no demons in this world. The heavenly court ostracized them. Those who disobeyed were demons. The heavenly court's divine Tao has many rules. The net of law is like the sky. All the lives and deaths, good and evil, rewards and punishments, even the weather, virtues, and blessings are all limited. This is fate. Under such a strict net of law, one can either be manipulated by fate or accumulate good karma and cultivate to become an immortal. Otherwise, one can rebel and become a demon and live freely in the mountains. These demons do not obey the rules of the heavenly court, and a demon emperor appointed by the heavenly court has to lead all the demons in the world. How can the great emperor of the heavenly court lead the demons? There are all kinds of demons in your demon army. Tigers, leopards, wolves, and bears. The reason why they can coexist with you is because they think of themselves as demons, and demon is relative to humans. How can you, the demon emperor, crush all the demons under you into a ball? How can you make them recognize the demon race? Only by strengthening the difference between humans and demons can they become demons. Otherwise, they will forever be tigers, leopards, wolves, and bears. They will never be demons. Master, are you saying that to become a demon emperor, one can only fight with humans? Only when humans and demons kill each other can they make use of the human race to mix all the other races and create the demon race. Monkey King was shocked. Yes, if you mix with the demons and raise the flag of rebellion against the heavenly court, you can establish demons and humans. You can fight a few battles with the heavenly court and make use of the immortals and humans to strengthen the demon race's knowledge. Then, you can unite the demons and convince a few demon kings. Then, you could become the demon emperor. Also, your foundation is stable and the law is clear. If the heavenly court loses its virtue in the future, you can successfully rebel against the heavenly court and become the emperor of heaven. Chapter 877. Master, is there no way for all living beings to coexist peacefully? Monkey King asked anxiously. Chun Ong smiled and asked, can you make tigers not eat rabbits, wolves not offend sheep, humans not slaughter beasts, and all living beings not kill each other? Even if all the demons in the world learn from those monks and become vegetarians, wouldn't plants and trees be resentful? All living beings in the world kill each other. The strong prey on the weak, survival of the fittest. This is the heavenly Tao. How can we escape? Monkey King kowtowed. Master, I have no regrets. Wukong isn't a demon. He's just a tiny stone monkey in the Eastern Sea. He mingled with a group of monkeys and was nurtured by the heavens and the earth. Fortunately, he was bestowed by the heavens and gained intelligence. He entered the tutelage of a teacher and learned the Tao. Only then did he gradually gain intelligence and understand the great Tao. This path of leading demons, killing each other, slaughtering the human race, and gathering all living beings to become demons, Wukong is absolutely unwilling to take it. Today, as the Demon King, I only wish for all living beings in the world to be enlightened and gain wisdom. Teach the demon race to transcend the nature of beasts, to transcend the human race. I hope that teacher can guide all the demons in the world to a path of transcendence. There's another path, Chin Ong said calmly. That is to say, among the myriad of creatures in the world, those who are enlightened with spiritual wisdom will be able to transcend their own race, wash away their herd nature, and become one. In other words, the tigers, leopards, wolves, bears, apes, monkeys, oxen, and horses formed their own clan. They no longer saw their own clansmen as their own kind. The tiger demon ate the tiger, and the ox demon ate the ox. From then on, they formed their own clan. They only saw their original bodies as the reincarnation of their previous lives. From now on, demons and beasts will be worlds apart. It is best to wash away their original body and change their scales. This is the Tao of unification. Monkey King was shocked. How can they do this? After gaining wisdom and learning skills, they will no longer see their own kind and see themselves as higher beings. How are they different from beasts? Even those ferocious demon kings and demon kings would look up to their own kind. After attaining the Tao, they will see their own kind as ants. How can there be such a logic in the world? I don't think that you will take this path. It is not that there is no such logic in the world. It is a necessary process for a civilization to succeed. But this path has already been taken by someone. The Heaven Court is the same. However, the Heaven Court is more magnanimous than I said. Among the Celestials, how many are humans and how many are demons? There are also all kinds of living beings with strange origins. Do you think they are humans or demons? No. They will only think they are gods or immortals. This was the transcendent race, the foundation of civilization's recognition. You've lost the initiative. If you imitate a cat and draw a tiger, your future won't be good. Chun Ong said calmly. The Jade Emperor ruled over the 3 realms. There were thousands of species in the world, each belonging to their own. There were humans and demons, and they loved and killed each other. It was 10,000 times more complicated than the demon race that you want to unify. The conflict between humans and demons, the conflict between humans and celestials, was 100 times more complicated than you. If you can't even adjust the ideology of a demon, you can forget about overthrowing the Heaven Court and establishing the Tao of gods. I am also impressed by the Jade Emperor's actions. In ancient times, humans and gods lived together. The great mediums of each race, gods and immortals, all recognized their own race. Thus, the races fought in karma involved the ancient gods, causing wars. The war between Zhurong and Gonggong, the war between the Yellow Emperor and Qi Yu were all like this. The ancient gods fought and killed each other for their own race. The laws of heaven and earth were in chaos. Later on, the Jade Emperor was born and built the 33 heavens. He summoned the great mediums of each race to be officials in the heaven court. They separated themselves from the race and established order. They were restrained by the laws of heaven and could not participate in the war in the lower realm. Then he attacked the disobedient gods of the three realms and suppressed the remaining ancient gods. Gomong, Xianming, Candle Dragon, Queen Mother of the West, and Juju were all killed. Later, the Jade Emperor cleaned up the heaven court and slowly pushed out the remaining ancient gods who surrendered to the heaven court. Gods like Count of Wind, Master of Rain, and Arbiter of Fate did not appear in the heaven court. When those who achieved Tao were promoted by the Jade Emperor, they separated themselves from the race and did not have much affection for the race. They only recognized themselves as immortals and mortals in the lower realm. They obeyed the laws of heaven and forgot about their kinship. How could they still treat themselves as mortals of the same race? How vicious is it to fabricate a celestial god civilization? Such a cruel tribulation lasted for hundreds of thousands of years. It was unbelievably long. With great patience, the Jade Emperor eliminated the huge power of the ancient immortals bit by bit. There were political struggles and even direct confrontations. Many soul-stirring stories happened. The ancient god Xingtian fought with the Jade Emperor and was beheaded. When Yu the Great was controlling the flood, a demon god Wu Zhiqi appeared. The Jade Emperor killed Gun, the father of Emperor Yu. The secrets and entanglements lasted for many thousands of years. This tribulation had a name. It was called the Forbidden Heavenly Passage. It was named after the most symbolic event in this tribulation. Emperor is Zhongli, the Forbidden Heavenly Passage, and the Forbidden Heavenly Passage. The immortals in this world were born from all kinds of beings. They achieved great power and became one with the gods. Gradually, the sky was high and the earth was high. When the Jade Emperor became enlightened, he would be able to reach the Forbidden Heavenly Passage. From then on, the immortals would no longer be humans or demons. They would be immortals who would rule the world forever. Therefore, the first taboo in the law of heaven is the illicit relationship between immortals and mortals. In the past, Goddess Yaoji had an illicit relationship with mortals and gave birth to the three Sanuses and God Erlang. She was imprisoned on the Peach Mountain to respect the law of heaven. The Jade Emperor even punished his own sister. It was dangerous. Chenong told him about the ancient events. The bloodlust and murderous aura in his words shocked the Monkey King. I refuse. Wukong raised his head and said, Master, I'm definitely not willing to learn from the great heavenly venerate and created demon race. I'm fighting for the position of the Demon Emperor to open up a way out for all the living beings in the world who are not accepted by the heavenly courts, so that they don't have to bear the name of demons and be killed by the heavenly courts. They don't have to live in a daze and die in the morning. I want freedom for all the beings in the world. What I fight for is civilization. I don't want them to fight against the human race or to create a noble among demons who don't see their own kind as demons. Chenong sighed and said, Nationalism is the easiest way to be invaded by other races. If there is no him, there is no me. If there is no exclusion, it will be difficult to be with me. The division of the upper class, the departure of humans and gods, and the forbidden heavenly passage all originate from the difference in levels. In the end, the levels are solidified. Firstly, you don't want to emphasize the levels. Secondly, you don't want to exclude the outsiders and start a war with the human race. You want to combine the complicated species of demons that kill each other and feed on each other into one and give birth to a civilization. Chapter 878. If I don't make things difficult, how can I achieve great things? Monkey King bowed and said, "Now I understand Master's painstaking efforts. If I were to mix with the demons and raise the flag of rebellion, using the name of rebelling against the heavens, I would gradually unify the demon race and kill the human race. This is because the demons in this world did not gather together by themselves. It was the heavenly heavens that forced them together. The human race is the foundation of the heavenly heavens in the lower realm. When the demons gather and become emperors, how can they not attack the human race and create a sea of blood? Only when both sides of a life and death feud can they use the pressure of the heavenly heavens to force the demon race to put down their conflicts and mix together. Therefore, such a demon emperor must be a demon emperor who kills people like flies. If I am not willing to kill people, I can't continue being the demon emperor, because the foundation of the demon emperor is the demons. If I am not a demon, how can I be the demon emperor? That bull demon king is right. If I am not a demon, I can't be the demon emperor. Therefore, I am under the command of the heavens. I am not the demon emperor, but the demon emperor under the command of the heavenly heavens. The demons in the world should be called to polish their demonic nature and bring them into the system. Master has enlightened me this time. I and the heavenly heavens are not the same people after all. As long as I am not willing to let the powerful beings among the demons in the world become immortals and gods, break away from the human race, and form their own civilization, there will be a day when I fall out with the Jade Emperor. The heavenly heavens wants all the races in the world to coexist peacefully. It is not to unify them, but to promote the elites among them to become gods and immortals. It is to imprison civilization and use gods to unify the heavens and suppress the human race. It is to suppress all the races in the world so that the world will be stable forever. Disciple is not on the same path as them. In this universe, how can there be immortals who do not change? Chenong smiled and nodded. I schemed against the Jade Emperor and wanted to raise the flag of rebellion to destroy the heavenly heavens that has ruled the three realms. It is because using gods to unify the heavens, suppress the development of the human race, and imprison civilization. It is extremely rotten. You know that I am the sect master of the Beyond Heaven sect, but do you know which sect I am in? For which sect master? The Monkey King thought for a while and suddenly said, I've heard Master mention it once. It seems to be the human Tao sect leader, the immeasurable heavenly lord. Chenong smiled and said, That's right. The Grand Pure One respects the great Tao. What he seeks is Tao and virtue. That's why he's called the heavenly lord of Tao and virtue. As for Master, it was humanity. What was humanity? Self-improvement is humanity, and civilization development is humanity. Laozi seeks the Tao, using the Tao to seek the Tao, forcefully calling it by its name. As for me, I seek the Tao, and I seek the Tao through civilization and explore the truth. As the leader of the human Tao, how can I sit back and watch the divine Tao surpass the human Tao and suppress the development of civilization? This is the first 1,000 years of my descent into this world to destroy the celestial court. I see. The Monkey King said, Master, did you enlighten me so that I can create a demon spirit civilization and walk a path out of the oppression of the heavenly courts? Master, you taught me to cut off those two paths, but you didn't teach me how to build the demon spirit civilization. I'm not a demon. How would I know how to build the demon spirit civilization? Chenong smiled and said, I know how to build the human Tao civilization and use humans to destroy the heavens. However, that will cut off the chance for the civilization of all kinds of demons. I want to see how different civilizations develop. Someone has long taken the blame for the development of the human Tao civilization in this world. I'm not afraid to tell you that the ultimate human Tao civilization will descend 1,000 years later. It will wipe out all demons and use humans to destroy the heavens. At that time, if the demon spirit civilization is not formed, all demons and races will transform into humans. If they don't, they will die. There will be no more demons and only humans. That will be the second 1,000 years since I descended into this world. Monkey King, you can only walk this path by yourself. I can't help you either. Shenong rubbed the Monkey King's forehead and sighed. Master, the Monkey King sobbed and called out. Shenong only said, the path is long, and I will search high and low. You can go now. There will be angels from the heavenly court descending outside. They are here on the orders of the Jade Emperor to clean up the mess for you. Go settle it yourself. We will be on our way soon. Upon hearing this, the Monkey King became happy and said, So Master is not chasing me out. This journey to the west has not been completed. It has just started. How can I chase you out? Let go of the Bull Demon King, Rock Demon King, and the rest. This journey to the west to become a Buddha is a merit of the heavenly court. It is a great merit of the Jade Emperor's words. You can use this to slowly subdue the demon kings and demon kings along the way and build a foundation. No one will dare to stop you. Firstly, it is justifiable. Secondly, you can also add some credit to yourself. You still need the Bull Demon King and the rest to call their friends to make things difficult for you. They have a wide network of friends and can trick many demons to come to you. You have it easy. This time, not only will I not be stopped by the heavenly court, but I can also borrow a lot of strength. If I become a Buddha, I'm afraid there won't be such a good thing anymore. When that time comes, there will be many constraints, and it will be very troublesome. Shenong smiled and said, I think that old bull is a heroic person. If I catch it and let it go a few times, it will be embarrassed. I'm afraid I can recruit it. The Monkey King whispered, and that Rock Demon King, I can also use this to wear down some of his arrogance and make him submit. But Master, I'm afraid that they will know what is good and bad. They will understand how powerful I am and won't fall for it. They will just close their cave abodes and not find trouble with us. If that is the case, this scheme will be a complete loss, and I will fail. Shenong only smiled and whispered, Let the Flood Dragon King out. The Monkey King didn't know what was going on and released the Flood Dragon King. He was a big man, but he had a pair of triangular eyes and looked quite sinister, which made him look less awe-inspiring. Shenong didn't wait for him to speak. In his eyes, a demon king like this was no different from an ignorant beast, so he didn't even look at it. He just pointed, and a dim light went straight into the Flood Dragon King's eyes. The light fixed on the Flood Dragon King's Niwen Palace and turned into a golden lotus. It landed under his primordial spirit and released a faint golden light that enveloped his primordial spirit. In just a moment, his primordial spirit was bewitched. Only then did Shenong say, That person's heart is hard to predict, and it's hard to guarantee that the Bull Demon King is a magnanimous person. Disciple, you will fail, so I need a spy to sow discord like Shen Gongbao. Just say, Fellow Taoist, please wait. This Flood Dragon King is under my spell, and his primordial spirit is bewitched by me. He will definitely provoke the Bull Demon King and the Rock Demon King to make things difficult for you and fall into my trap. The Monkey King asked curiously, Master, who is that Shen Gongbao? It sounds like he's from the demon race. It sounds like he's quite intelligent. If he is proficient in his work, I can take him in and make him a useless military advisor or something like that. I'll let Master know that there's no atmosphere of learning among the demons. My subordinates are a bunch of illiterate and rough men. I'm extremely short of manpower. That's an otherworldly figure. He's a servant of the Grand Pure One's second brother. In order to fight for the family property, his two brothers sent such a person to his third brother's house as a spy. Later on, he sowed discord and damaged his third brother's family business. Shenong teased. The Monkey King teased. Then he definitely won't have a good ending. Oh. Shenong asked curiously, How do you know? Later on, he was filled with the sea, and ended up in the worst state.